Hello everybody and welcome back to the Games Done Quick Hot Fix. This is How to Train a Speedrunner. We've got a great show for you tonight. Before we get into that, just a quick reminder, SGDQ 2023 is coming up May 28th through June 4th in Minneapolis, Minnesota. If you're interested in attending the event, registration's open now until May 3rd. You can go to gamesdonequick.com for more information on that. With all that said, we are here with Disney's 102 Dalmatians, Puppies to the Rescue. We're going to be learning 2 categories tonight. I'll hand it over to the runner. I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi everybody, I am Passeray. This is going to be 2 different speed runs of 102 Dalmatians Puppies to the Rescue. And we're going to learn how to do those. So the categories that I'm going to be doing, the All Puppies category is free, but that's going to be second. First we're going to do the All Levels Out of Bounds category. So this one's a shorter speed run, it's 20 to 30 minutes, whereas All Puppies is a little bit longer, it's 40 to 60 minutes. Out of Bounds obviously has a lot of tricks, or a lot of out of bounds tricks, I should say, whereas the All Puppies category has a lot fewer of those. So that's some other stuff that you can use to help you decide which kind of speedrun you want to learn here. But yeah, this is 102 Dalmatians. It was made for the live action Disney movie that was released in 2000, and it has a completely different plot. Like, it has no relation to the movie at all, basically, except for the name, but that's okay. Cruella wants to turn our siblings into toys, and we want to stop her from doing that. So, if you have any version of this game, you can pick it up to start speedrunning it. You don't have to have a very specific version, especially for the all levels categories. It comes down to like 2 seconds either way, depending on what language you have. Technically, the fastest language is Danish, but don't worry about that so much. Just run with whatever you've got. For All Puppies, it matters a little bit more, but I'll talk about that when we talk about All Puppies. And yeah, let me get into some gameplay so that we can see what this game looks like. Whoops, here we go. Actually, I should probably talk about this. We have some awesome resources on the speedrun.com page as well. We have trainers that you can use for whatever version that you're running on, so that's what you're going to see me using here today. This trainer lets me like skip to different tricks that I want to use. It also has modes to let you see like level info, fly around, turn off walls, fun stuff like that. So really awesome to help everybody learn to run this game. And I just put us in the first level. This is Regent's Park. So before I get into like what we're going to be doing in each level, I'm going to start with just some movement basics. Also to talk about the input display a little bit so that you know what you're seeing on the input display. So depending on what system you're on, this is for PS1, Dreamcast, and PC. So you're going to have different inputs, different like buttons that they're called, depending on which one you're on. So I'll just refer to them by what they do. So on the input display, this is the jump button. This is the sniff button, or the interact button. This is the roll button. And this is the bark button. And you move the cameras using the bumpers. And most runners use the D-pad, although you can use the stick. There's nothing against using that. Although I have analog turned off right now, so I can't use the stick, but you can in general. So that's what all the different controls do. And there is a little bit of a difference between the controls on PC versus console. On PC, the camera does not follow you around, so you have to do most of the moving of the camera yourself. Whereas on console, like if I turn around and then roll, the camera immediately snaps to where I am. So that's really the main difference between PC and console. Other than that, like PC has faster load times, and it is a faster category overall, but I personally prefer the console camera, so it really is like personal preference, what you like better. And just for basic movement, what you're going to want to be doing to go fast is roll. So if you see like rolling dog emotes, that's why. We do a lot of rolling in this game. And so rolling is the fastest, but you can't roll forever. If you see I'm just holding the button down, I stop eventually. So you don't want to just roll and walk because that's kind of slow. What you can do though is roll and jump, so you kind of maintain some of your speed. So you don't really have to time the jumps really precisely even, because if you hold the jump button down at any time during your roll, you'll automatically jump after the roll is over. So it's really satisfying movement, and it's also not super hard to do if you get the rhythm down. And then one more basic movement thing before we get into the run is something called a slope boost. So if you jump and roll on a slope, you're going to go faster and further than what you would do otherwise. So if I just like start here and roll down this slope, I only make it like to here. But if I do a slope boost, meaning I jump over the slope and then roll onto it, I'm gonna go a lot further. So here I almost made it to the gazebo. So you can do that anytime you see a slope. It doesn't have to be a big slope. It could even be a small slope like this one right here. I'm not gonna talk about every slope boost that you can do. So as you're running, if you see a slope that's in your path, you can just go for it. So that is movement basics. And now we can start to get into some things about doing this run. And I'm actually going to back out so that you can actually see what the level select looks like, since we haven't seen that yet. The timer won't start when you select the first level. It's going to start when you get control of the puppy. So what that means is that, you know, you can start this and it's going to load into a cutscene. So you can just kind of sit around and watch the cutscene if you want, or you can skip it right away, and then that's when the timer starts. So here's the cutscene. So you can just skip this right away, and then it would start immediately, or you could wait. And so then this would be time. And there's going to be an out of bounds right in the first level, actually, which is really awesome for practice. And it's also a super accessible out of bounds. Like, you could pick this up right now and do this trick, definitely. First, though, let's do a slope boost. You can do another slope boost here. You can do another one here. So you get the idea. Oh. But you want to end up down here. And this is one of Corella's henchmen. Also, I just grabbed a life here. If you're taking this route, you can definitely grab this life if you feel like you're going to need it. If you run out of lives a lot, or if you take extra deaths, then this is definitely a good safety life to grab. We don't actually want to get hit by him, though. What we're going to be doing is heading for the wall that's right behind him. So this whole area behind him, back here, you can basically just jump over the wall and get out of bounds. So just like that, if you jump and press forward, you go over the wall and you're in the void.
Oh, wow.
Which kind of makes it look like the game is poorly put together. There's actually not that many places that it's this easy to get out of bounds. It just so happens that it's in the first level, so I don't know. Maybe their QA people didn't really focus right here. But once you're out of bounds, I'll talk a little bit about out of bounds movement now. You don't want to, you'll actually hit a point where it'll respawn you at the beginning. So you don't want to do that if you're trying to go fast. Just jump to get out of bounds and then hold jump. You'll start to rise. When you're out of bounds, jumping will continuously make you float upwards. And then rolling will make you sink downwards. So you don't want to strictly do one or the other, because if you get too high, you won't know where you are. If you get too low, you'll spawn back at the beginning. So just like inbounds movement, it's kind of a combination of jumping and rolling. In this case, you don't have very far to go to get to the end of the level, actually. The end of the level is right in front of us there. If I jump right out of the wall right here, that 102 portal, that is our goal. So you can just hold forward on the first level and get out of bounds, and to the end. But it's also a really convenient place to practice with out of bounds movement if you're not sure, because you can see everything around you. It's not like a dark level like some of them are. And yeah, that's really the first level. Now you know how to get out of bounds in 102 Dalmatians.
It looked really easy to do.
Yes, it is. That's one of the things that really kept me going with this game, I think, is I wanted to do out of bounds tricks, and you start right away and it's just oh, wow, I'm here. This is it. I'm out of bounds. I've done it.
Yeah.
And not all the tricks are like that. I mean, it goes from as easy as that one to as complicated as almost frame perfect. So if you start this game and you want to build up to a really advanced level, that's possible, but it's also possible to just get right into it and do these tricks.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was the first level. Now we're in Toy Store. Again, if you just came in, we're not actually going to be saving any puppies, because this is the all levels category, not the all puppies category, so we're just going through all the levels. We do have an any % category. It's really short. That's why it's not a category that I'm going to do today. But before I go further, I do want to say about Toy Store, just follow, where I'm going in Toy Store. There's not an out of bounds that I'm going to be doing here. The reason that we're in Toy Store is because Corella is selling toys and failing at it, but that's why there's a toy theme going on. If you get to like a more advanced level, you can do a clip with this bomb car, but I'm not going to be talking about that one today. After this beginner route, I am going to go through some intermediate tricks that you can add when you feel more comfortable with the beginner route. Or even right away if you want to add more out of bounds than the ones that I'm putting in. But I won't be going over the advanced tricks. And you always want to not save because that's faster. And now Piccadilly is another one where there's not going to be an out of bounds. This one, I mean, you can get out of bounds. You can get out of bounds in almost every level in some way. In this one, it's just useless because there's walls everywhere. Like, once you get out of bounds, you're just surrounded by walls and you can't do anything useful.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just taking a nice journey through Piccadilly. And in the movie, I guess they go to France and stuff. I haven't watched the movie in a long time, but that's what I remember from like reading the synopsis. In the game, they just are in England the whole time, so we're going to be visiting different parts of England. Or different fictional parts of England.
It's been so long ago since I've watched those movies, I legitimately didn't remember it was in England.
Yeah, I don't... Actually, I think I watched 101 Dalmatians recently, but I don't know the last... Like, I don't think I saw this movie since I was a kid.
I don't think I've seen it in the past 2 decades.
Yeah. Alright, I guess something quick to mention, some of the levels load into cutscenes and some of them don't, so eventually, like, when you get used to which ones do and don't, you can know, like, when to be mashing to skip the cutscene and when to not. But now we're in Big Ben. This level is notorious. This level, I have a love-hate relationship. I had a love-hate relationship with it as a kid, and I have a love-hate relationship with it now. Because it's a really platform-heavy level, and it's vertical, so you spend a lot of time going up, and if you miss a jump, you can fall all the way back down. So this one's definitely one to practice. That said, I do love the music and stuff, so I can't fully hate Big Ben. Anyways, I'm stopped here because the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do a jump over the wall here. It is a bit of a skip because what you're supposed to do is follow these arrows and go like all the way around and then over here. But we're not going to do any of that. We're just going to jump right over this wall. So actually, if you like angle yourself there and then jump and then roll, you can make it there. And that made it look easy, but I promise I still miss it sometimes. So if you get frustrated by it, like that's normal. It's also important to start practicing with this jump because there's other tight jumps that you'll have to do later in the run. So this one will kind of prepare you for that. But the general gist of it is you want to jump and then roll when you're at the top of your jump so that you get over the fence. Because if you roll too soon or if you roll too late, you won't have enough height to get over. Whoops. And there's a few different ways that you can kind of line it up. You can do like I was doing where like facing diagonal off the side here and then jumping over it. You can also, another way that I've done it is like to get the puppy all the way on the edge, I go like here and then I like jump around the wall like that. That's another way to line it up. And if you fall, it's not a huge deal because right here you can just go back up here. And if you fall all the way down, you can also just take these stairs over here again. This is just like going back to where you started. So it's not the end of the world if you fail. It's just frustrating. But that's that. That's the first room skip. Now we're in the next room. An important thing to know about Big Ben is that it is cycle based. And so there's sometimes that means that like you'll miss something small and lose a lot of time because you miss a cycle. But it also means that if you save a little bit of time, sometimes you can save a lot of time because you make an earlier cycle. So the cycle starts when you load into the level, and that includes time during the cutscene, so that's why you want to skip that cutscene as fast as possible. And if you get the earliest cycle, what you can do is like you'll get up here and you can jump right on here, and then you can jump over to here, and then the last part to get the earliest cycle is to get a bit of a boost off this pendulum here. And you'll know that you got the early cycle because in the next room, this piston's going to be down. And mine was off because I didn't start with the original cycle. But if this piston's down and you're able to get onto it, that means you got early cycle. And it's not that you have to get that right away, it's just something to keep in mind, something to kind of aim for, is saving that time with that cycle. But starting off, you don't have to do any of that, and I'm actually going to do this room again to show you some more details. Because something that you'll see a lot of runners do here is you'll see them switch puppies. So I'm playing as Domino right now. You can also play as Oddball. Oddball's the white one without spots. And Oddball's actually faster in every language but French. If you're playing all levels in French, do not switch puppies. If you're playing in any other language, feel free to switch to Oddball. And most runners do it here because you're already like sitting around kind of waiting. So like if I'm Domino here and I get on here, I'm just sitting here waiting. So it's just an easy spot to switch puppies. And for me, that's the select button. If you're on Dreamcast, you have to actually open the menu. But that is why the reason that we switch puppies is that there's one unskippable cutscene in this whole game, and Oddball says the line faster. No. Oddball wins. By like, it's not even that much, it's like a second and a half, but it's faster, so why not use that? That also means that if you don't remember to switch, it's not worth resetting. Like, this is very small, it's just, you know, a little bit of time saved. But now we're in the most frustrating room, unfortunately. This is the really long, tall room. And so the fastest way to get up here is to, you know, hug the sides and jump over the corners. And if that becomes frustrating, like, just worry about getting to the top, especially at first. Even now, I still fall off the top of Big Ben. And yeah, it's rough when you fall, like, all the way from up here. But once you're up here, first of all, there is an out of bounds that you can do with this punching bag right here. I'm going to talk about that when I do the intermediate tricks after this beginner route, because it is not one that you want to start off with for sure. Anything where you have to clip out with an enemy is going to be much more complicated, and so you want to make sure that you have like the basics of getting out of bounds down before you do something like that. Right now what I'm going to talk about is using these to get across. Our goal is to get up here. It's behind this pendulum. You kind of can't see it right now. And there is a faster way to do this. You can kind of like skip some of the steps if you're fast. Like going back to that tight jump that I was telling you about earlier, you can do a tight jump all the way over here. But if you're falling on that, or especially if you reach this late and like, see that one I wouldn't have made, so I don't want to try that jump there, because then I would be at the bottom again. And I think the intended way is to like jump up here and go over, but it's really easy actually to just jump across to that maroon one. And that's the exit right there. So if you just do this, it's pretty easy to make that jump. That one's not very tight at all. And now we're in the last room. We're almost done with Big Ben, don't worry. This one's pretty straightforward. It's platforming. But the platforms are moving, so you can fall. That is an option. This room also likes to lag, so that can be a little bit frustrating with timing your jumps. But for the most part, oh yeah, like that. You don't want to do that. That's not how you do this room. And you can get on top of the teeth of the gear, and that can save you a little bit of time, but it's a little bit of a more precise jump there. One thing that you might notice is like I just rolled onto this platform and I was holding the interact button already, and so that makes sure that you interact with it as soon as possible. You can also do that, I did the same thing in the elevator in Toy Store, if you remember that when you go to Toy Store. So anything that you can interact with, you can just roll into it while holding the button and it'll automatically activate, which is really nice and fast. And I don't know where that helicopter went. It's like under the floor. It's not supposed to be. I've never seen it do that. Oh my gosh, it's like, this is its shadow. Where is it? Anyways, that's not important. We don't need the helicopter. That helicopter's actually really mean. Sometimes it attacks, and then after you're hit by an enemy, you have a reduced jump height. So you can actually just like fall down all the way to the bottom because you got hit by the helicopter, which maybe it's better he's under the floor. Oops, we're not saving.
That's really brutal.
Yeah. But the next thing that we're going to be doing, so the way that this game is structured, and actually I can kind of go through it in this warp menu here. Again, this is the trainer. You can find this on speedrun.com if you want to use it yourself. the way that the game is structured, you've got 4 levels and then you've got a Corella fight. So they're all like numbered. Corella 1, Corella 2, Corella 3, and then Corella 4 is the last one. So we're about to go into Corella 1. First Corella fight. What you're going to learn really fast is that Corella hates fruit. So Corella is here with her helicopter loaded with tomatoes, and she's trying to shoot us with the tomatoes, and we're trying to shoot her with the pineapples that are on top of Big Ben, obviously. They keep catapults up here. And I'm going to reload that real quick. So the goal is what you want to do first is you want to roll to the left over to this catapult, and you want to shoot her with a pineapple. And then immediately you head backwards and hit this bell here, because the bell stuns her. Unfortunately, the first time you hit the bell, you get a cutscene so that she doesn't stay in the same place, but after that, she will stay in the same place. So after you get the first one, you just go back and forth and hit the bell and hit her and hit the bell and hit her, and then you have her stun locked, so it's pretty straightforward, actually. And that's it, we've defeated Corella with the power of pineapples. There is an extra cutscene after each Corella level, so like if I let it load without skipping, it is going to play a cutscene right here. So you want to make sure to skip that, and that's only after the Corella levels that there's a cutscene between levels. She does actually say, like, after Corella 2, after you hit her with watermelons, she does say, "I hate melons." So we have canon proof Corella hates melons. I don't know about pineapples, though. Pineapples seem more painful. Anyways, this is Royal Museum.
So.
Right? There's 2 levels in the game where you have to do 5 specific tasks before you're allowed to leave. Like, the exit isn't even spawned, so even if we got out of bounds, it would be useless. This is one of them. Barnyard is the other one. This one is just fetch quests, very appropriate for a dog game. Barnyard has some more complicated things, but the story here is that Corella's henchmen, like, ruined the museum and put things in the wrong places, and so we have to go and get them back so that Fluffy... I don't know why Fluffy needs our help. It seems like he works here, but, like, he's not doing any of the work, so... Anyways, I'm on the conspiracy theory side that Fluffy works for Corella. Like, look at the hair. I'm pretty sure he works for Corella. Anyways, the first thing we have to get is a coin. It's in the dinosaur room. So head to the dinosaur room, and you can actually jump over this fence here so that you don't have to go down the ramp, which is a little bit faster. If you just jump at the fence while holding forward, it won't work. So if it's not working, that's probably why. If you jump from a distance, it'll work better. So if you like jump from over here, you could make it. And the other thing is that if you are right up against the fence, you just want to not be holding forward. If you jump and then press forward at the top, you'll make it over even if you're right up here. Watch it not work now because I said that. Yeah, like that. And you just grab this coin. And then you go back to Fluffy. Yeah, now I've started a debate. There's some very, very supportive Fluffy fans. But everything you grab, you have to bring it back to Fluffy. So the next thing is a scarab. The scarab is in the Roman room, which is all the way on the other side. And you have to jump up here. You can add some rolls here, but they're not necessary at all. And actually, you can do a slope boost right up here. You can do a slope boost off the edge here and then roll back here. Oh, one thing to mention, I'm going to actually go to this loading zone in specifically this room because there's another loading zone stacked on top of it, and if you get too high, you can touch that loading zone. So I don't know if I can grab it here, but you don't want to do that. Yeah, there we go. See, if you're at the top of your jump when you hit the loading zone, you'll actually jump over the fence to go back down.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a useless glitch that we have. The next thing is a dinosaur bone in the medieval room. It's just in the middle. And then the next one, there is an out of bounds that you can do to get this next one, but if you miss it, it will lose you time. So I'm going to talk about that one in the intermediate tricks at the end. It's called Toast Pot Clip. The other way that you can do this one is you actually go back into the dinosaur room, but you stay on the upper level and take the exit on the left. And this will put you on the upper level of the pyramid room. And then you have to activate the switch. And then you can grab the crown that's here. And you want to be careful not to fall off before you grab the crown. This is a very slippery area. Like, you can see, like, you can slide off. There's a few that are really big like that. There's another one in Countryside that we can talk about, but those are the fun ones. The last artifact that we have to get, and the reason that I think Fluffy is working for Corella, is we're going to grab this donut. And that's not an artifact. And when you hand it to Fluffy, he tells you he just wanted a snack. So he knows that all of our siblings are kidnapped. He knows that, like, we're in imminent danger. And he's like, oh, but also I need a snack.
Hey, Fluffy, you ate the jelly donut. Yeah, that's what it was for. I was...
So, anyways, now that we've gotten Fluffy a snack, we can leave. And so the exit's back in the medieval room. Now there's a door open at the end, and it's here. And now we're in the underground. And this is where I'm going to show you about... this is like the basis of a lot of underground, or a lot of out-of-bounds tricks that I'm going to do today. Is using an object to get out of bounds. So that's coming up. Before I do that, there is a fun... I guess this is another fun slope boost that you can do, actually. It's kind of a combination slope boost and then, like, object boost. Basically, so we're in the underground. You see there's a train right there. When you get close enough, the train leaves, and you're not supposed to ever be able to reach it because it goes before you even, like, are anywhere near it. But we're speedrunners, so of course we can reach it. And if you hit it, you actually get a giant speed boost. So to get to it in time, you can't just do a slope boost off of here because you won't get enough speed and it'll still get away from you. But what you can do is jump up on the railing, and that'll give you better height to get a better slope boost. And so then you can actually hit the train and end up all the way over here much faster than you would have otherwise. But I'll do that again because I know that was fast. And when you hit the train, you want to make sure that you're pressing to go right. And if you press to go right and then jump at the right time, you can even end up here. And actually, sometimes you get, like, all the way up here. It really depends on, like, what kind of boost you get off the train, which seems kind of random sometimes. It really depends on, like, where you hit on the train. But one more time, you want to roll into the train, and then I'm actually pressing up and right so that I end up over here. And you want to, you know, get over the third rail. The third rail will zap you, so that's something to be aware of. Especially in this category where, oh, yeah. You don't want to die on the third rail. There we go. So that's one where I made it all the way over the third rail and all the way up here. So that's something worth trying. It's not worth resetting over. But it's, you know, some optimization. And now we get to Crate Clip. And Crate Clip is definitely the first type of out of bounds like this that you should try. So anytime you see somebody using an object or an enemy to get out of bounds, it's the same principle that we're using in Crate Clip. It's just, you know, with a different object or enemy. And the reason that Crate Clip is so great is because this crate is not going to move, it's not going to walk away from you, it's not going to die like an enemy can. It just sits here, which is great. What's not great is that this is a puppy trapped in a crate. We ignore that part. I like to think when we defeat Corella, all the puppies are saved. And if that's not convincing to you, we have the all puppies category. For Crate Clip, though, we want to get the puppy trapped between the crate and the wall, and then that is what we're going to use to push ourselves out of bounds. So you want to aim for the seam, this crack in the wall right here, between the two panels, and you want to jump straight at that. And if you are in the right spot, you should get stuck there. If you're too far to the left or right, you'll probably slide off, and in that case, you can just, you know, try it again, just line up again. Once you have the puppy stuck back here, you can turn around, and this is where it gets a little bit trickier. You need to turn the puppy around so that the butt is facing the wall, like this. And that can be a little tricky. The way that I do it is by tapping left and right usually. Sometimes I also tap up, depending on, like, the position of the puppy. But it is hard to, like, you have to move just a little bit so that you don't, like, walk, but you do turn. So the goal then is to get the puppy so that you're sliding, you can see like there's a constant sliding animation happening. That's a good sign. The camera being out of bounds is also a good sign. If the camera is out of bounds like this, that means it's much more likely to work. If it's like this, then it's less likely to work. It can work, but it's not guaranteed like it is when you got the camera out of bounds. So yeah, so like that one, it didn't work because I just wasn't pushed quite right. But the good news about this one is that you can just, in this case, the camera did fully come out of bounds, so that's a really good sign. And then if I jump, the puppy just gets popped right out of bounds. And so again, once you're out of bounds, you want to make sure that you are holding the jump button so that you do not fall too low, because at that point you'll spawn back at the beginning, which is not useful. If you end up too high, you can just, like I did, you can roll again so that you can see the level. That's what it looks like when you start sliding off. I was a little bit too far to the side, so I slid off again. This is what I get for not lining it up carefully. There we go. Once you're out of bounds though, I will tell you where to go, because it's kind of, you're in a confusing void. Yeah, that one didn't work for some reason. If you are behind an object and it's not quite working, but you're like really close, sometimes you can like wiggle the puppy back and forth too, and that will get the camera out of bounds. So you're not like, you know, totally out of luck if it doesn't work immediately. But once you're here, you can see the level is all around us. You do have to be careful not to get back inside the level. Like if you go too far this way, you'll pop back in here, because anytime you are underneath a part of the level that like is a valid location for the puppy to be, it'll just put you there. So if you're like, even if you're like way below the level, it'll immediately teleport you to be inbounds at that same spot. So you want to avoid going underneath the level. For underground, what you're going to do is you're going to be heading, I'm going to try to show this with the camera. You come from over there and you're heading to here. So it's kind of like a diagonal direction from where you start. You want to aim for this area right here where there's the different water levels and the boats in the water. And it actually doesn't really matter where you end up here, as long as you're not on the lowest level where there's the alligators. You'll get stuck there and you can't continue if you get there. But if you're here, you can keep going. You just want to roll out the other side. If you end up in the area with the boats, like on the water with the boats, that's also a fine place to be, because the other wall doesn't have collision there, because you're not supposed to ever get that high. What actually happens when you're like playing this game normally is this whole tier lowers down to the same level as the alligator level. So like you're never supposed to be up here, so they didn't add collision here. So you can just jump right through. But either way, you want to go out the other side, and then the general direction that you're heading, you don't want to go straight out the other side. That will lead you to the void. You want to go kind of diagonally left. Oop. And you don't want to get stuck in that puppy box. If you keep heading diagonally left, you will get there. Unfortunately, for this demonstration, it is a little bit harder to find where you're going. But in general, if you just keep floating in the direction of like where you know you're supposed to be, you will find it eventually. But let me do that one more time so you can actually see like better where we're going from the beginning. So I turn around kind of fast. If you're ever unsure of where you're supposed to be going in the out of bounds area, just stop and float, and eventually you'll probably see parts of the level. So what you can definitely do after doing crate clip is just stop there, hold the roll button so that you float a little bit, and then you should start to see the level around you. And then you don't have to do anything blind. With this one, you won't be able to see the level right away, so that is a little bit unfortunate, but if you head in this direction from the puppy box, again, you can just float there. You do not have to roll or go fast or anything, because getting there is the most important part. And once you're here, this is just the exit. You've made it. And then the next level is Carnival, which is definitely the hardest level in the whole game. And when I say that, I'm completely lying, because you don't have to do anything. Honestly, maybe I should say it unironically, that's the hardest level, because you will lose like time in this level for just like taking slightly the wrong angle at first. Like you lose time in this level for the silliest things, because The exit's right here. You don't have to do any of the side quests or anything. This level's actually really big and has some fun stuff. You don't see any of it. Don't worry about it. Here's the end. Would have blown my mind as a kid. And now we're on the lumber mill. Lumber mill has another out of bounds that you can do with this enemy right here. But going back to what I said about enemy clips, you want to make sure that you have crate clip down before you try anything with enemies, because enemies hurt you, enemies die, enemies are temporary. And I'm going to be showing that clip afterwards in the intermediate stuff. Oh, and that's what I mean about you lose your jump after you get hit. So I couldn't get over this. You've got two options. You can go around here. Actually, there was immediately less lag when I went in this direction. You can just go around here. If you're slow in the log setup, you actually lose time over doing it the normal way, so don't worry about that log setup too much. And then this is kind of a maze, just a bit. So follow the path here. You want to end up at this pyramid. And here's another spot where you can get an extra life. You can grab this one right here. Oh, you don't want to fall off like I did. That was bad. Not how you speedrun. You do want to grab the extra life though while you're here, because it's nice to have, especially when you're first learning, because you need all your lives for this route. We do death warps. We need them all. So if you do take an accidental death, it's a problem unless you have an extra life. And then you want to grab this key. And then you want to go and drive this crane, because puppies can operate cranes, in case you didn't know. And be holding the interact button before you get to something. You can also hold the exit button. So in this case, it's triangle. It's the same as the roll button. And that's lumber mill. And now we're on to the second Cruella fight. So this time, I already alluded to this, we've got watermelons. And Cruella's in a boat. Cruella's in a boat shooting us with tomatoes this time. So, there's some faster ways to do this level. The problem is that if any of it gets messed up, you just kind of are on your own trying to do it based on the game's code. If she's moving left, she might turn right, and you don't know when she's going to do it. And I say that like between shooting. Once she shoots, then she can go either direction. If she isn't shooting and she starts moving to the right, she will not turn around. If she starts moving to the left, she can turn around like she just did. So that's why it's kind of iffy if you want to like shoot in front of her and hope that it hits her while she's moving. It's definitely a lot safer to wait for her to stop, because then you know for sure that she's not going to turn around. Excuse me. She's not going to turn around or like move where you can't hit her or something like that. But I'm going to restart this so that I can show you. The fastest thing to do is to skip this cutscene and then try to hit her right away, which can be a little bit annoying if she heads under the bridge. You can skip all these cutscenes here with Cruella, but the one that you can't skip is after you hit her for the third time. You cannot skip that cutscene, and that is why you want to be oddball, which you probably already were at this time. I'm using the save states, so I was back to being Domino. For the second hit, what I usually do is I wait for her to stop so that I can hit her with 2. If she stops in the right spot where it's lined up right, like here, I could hit her with both of these at once with just one roll. I could roll forward and just hit both the watermelons. A lot of times she'll stop in places where that's not possible. Of course, now she's stopping in places where it is a lot. So if you see her lined up perfectly, you can go for that. But a more consistent way to get 2 hits on her in one stop is to wait for her to stop, hit her with the second melon, and then hit her with the third melon, and she'll still be stopped. And that is the unskippable cutscene where Oddball says, "I think we almost got her." And that's faster for Oddball to say it, unless you're in French. Now for the last watermelon. This one we do have a bit of a strat for. For the other ones, it can be kind of iffy if you're going to hit her, if you try to hit her while moving. But for this one, it's pretty consistent to hit her while she's moving. If you aim the puppy at a 45-degree angle, so like if you're using the D-pad, you can just press up and left or up and right in whatever direction she's moving, and then roll into the melon. And that one pretty consistently hits her while she's moving. And then you feel pretty cool because you just got a hit on Cruella while she was moving. So that is Cruella Corella 2. I forgot what number we were on. One of the Corellas. And there's another cutscene after this one again, because it was a Corella level. And now we're in Countryside. First thing with Countryside, actually, you don't want to just roll forward because you'll activate a cutscene, which is fine. Like, it's not a huge deal, but it's also not optimal. So if you head a little bit this way, you just won't hit it anymore because you want to go up these stairs here. Oops, you don't want to fall there. You do want to fall here. You want to fall here on purpose because we're going to try to get a slope boost. So you can get a slope boost off this if you slide down it and then roll. You saw how, like, Domino scraped the side of the cliff? That was good. And so it can be hard to get that. It's easy to go for. Sometimes it's hard to get, especially, like, you'll get ones of different length. Some of them go really far and some of them don't. So if you get anyone, that's good. You want to try not to bonk on these, but that's easier said than done. And then Countryside also has a lot of smaller slope boosts. Like, there's a little bit of a one there, and there's a little bit of one here. You can go for any of these. You just want to make sure you're not going too far out of the way, because then you'll lose time. And then here's our next big slope boost. So there's the exit. This is a giant slope. What you can't see because he's not loaded yet, there is one of Corella's henchmen. We don't want to hit him, though. So you want to get the slope boost, but you want to avoid hitting Horus. That's Horus, yeah. And that's Countryside. And now we're on to Barnyard, which is the next task-based level. So in this one, I don't have any conspiracy theories about Priscilla. I think she's a very nice pig. It's her birthday. And the farmer for this farm is very lazy and he's not been doing the chores. So it's up to Priscilla to do them. But since it's her birthday, we're going to help her out. And so the first thing that we're going to do is go and turn on the water. And it's in the barn here. And again, you can hold the interact button before you get to the water faucet and it'll just automatically turn. And then you head back to Priscilla. For Fluffy, you don't have to press the interact button to talk to him, although I think I do by reflex. You don't have to. Priscilla, you do have to. So make sure you're holding the interact button as you approach Priscilla. And now we have to go and fix this windmill because it is broken. Oh, I'm stuck on the wall. The windmill's broken and we have to fix it, and apparently all we have to do is bark at it because that fixes things. So you can just bark at it. You can also roll into it. The reason that I barked at it is because you can do a slope boost off of this here, actually. If you jump and roll, you'll get some extra speed. Going back to Priscilla. And now we get to everybody's favorite part, the hens. So we're gonna intentionally take a death here, but I'm going to show you the safer way of doing the hens. Afterwards, when I talk about some intermediate stuff, I'll show you a way to skip one of the cutscenes here. But for this one, I'll show you a way that makes sure you don't die, because that's the important part. So you see the hens. They're actually already spawned in here, so I'm going to go back and reload them so that they start in their initial positions. And there's actually a warp for this in the trainer. So once you get here, they start walking around, and they're always in the same spot here. So if you do this the same way every time, you can actually get consistent hens. The problem is that it's really hard to get them to behave the same way every time. And if you miss even one of these barks, then you're just left trying to get them in, you know, whenever you can. So there you saw I barked 2 of them in immediately. And that's cool if you can do that. It's definitely something to try to do. But what's more important is just getting them in. So what you should know about the hens is that if you, like, get them in the wrong direction, they will head that way. And if you get too close to them, they'll just stay in this mode where you can't bark at them anymore. So when they're, like, hopping around, they won't react when you bark. Nothing happens. So you don't want them like this. If you see one like this, you want to walk away so that it goes back to just walking around. The other thing with the hens is that you can get them stuck. So if I move this hen all the way over here and then bark, nope, not there. If I try to bark a hen in all the way from the side, See now that this one's jumping around. If I try to bark a hen in all the way from the side, it is going to get stuck on the barn. That was the wrong way. Of course, this happens when I don't want it to, and now I'm trying to show you and it's not going to happen.
I'm gonna be honest with you, that's like literally every trick on this show. Or just...
There we go! Yep, exactly. Like, once you try to show something, it's like, oh, yeah. This happens sometimes, I promise, really. Anyways, you don't want to get the hen stuck here because then you can't get the hen in. You can reload the hens though, just like I did before. If you roll back here, they will reset and then you can try again. But it just is very unfortunate when that happens. So now they're all back. Oh, this is... Nope, that's not the fast way. Sometimes they do that too. If they're like not close enough to the coop, they'll just like do a short hop instead of going into the coop. And then you get the last one in, and then this cutscene plays. Where it's like a different crow. And that means you've got them all. If you think you've done everything right and there's no hens left and it's still not working, you might have soft locked it. It is possible to get 2 hens in at the exact same time. And in that case, it will soft lock and you have to restart the level. So that's why you want to be fast, but you don't want to bark at 2 at the same time. Unless, like, you're sure that you're doing it in a way that it won't soft lock. Once you've gotten all the hens in though, you can come over to this guy here and take a death. And this will bring you right back to Priscilla so that you don't have to worry about like walking all the way back since that's slow. Yes, so that is task number 3. Next task is to empty the silo of grain. And this one's another one where we're going to do a death warp because this is pretty far away and we have to get all the way back to Priscilla afterwards. So you can take 1 hit here as you're passing by. You can take another hit. Or 2, actually. I usually take 2 hits on this bulldozer right here so that I have 1 left. Because there's not a lot of danger of getting hit by something else over here. And then I'm actually going to do another out-of-bounds trick. Oh, I don't want to die to that guy. This is an out-of-bounds trick. It doesn't look like it necessarily because it's another one that's really easy. So if I do it really slow, you can see I'm actually on top of the haystack. I don't know why this happens. There's certain geometries in this game where it's really easy to get on top of them just by like jumping at them at weird angles. This one though, it's not even that weird of an angle. You just jump at it and you go through it. And it's actually harder to land on top of it than go straight through it because that's our goal. We want to just jump straight through this haystack, just like that, and we're on the other side. And that's faster. And if you happen to be doing the inbounds category, remember that that is an out-of-bounds trick because it has invalidated many inbounds runs. Once you're in the silo though, you can press down and roll. Oh. If you do it right away, if you press down and roll, you'll end up at this nozzle here. There's 3 different nozzles that you want to hit. And so the next one's over here. And then the next one's right next to it. And once you've gotten all of them, that's it, you've done it. And you can leave. For some reason, there's like a puppy down here, and the puppy is fine. These puppies are invincible. There's also one on top of a furnace at one point. But then you come over here and take another death so that you get back to Priscilla. And so now we're on to the last task. And this one is to knock down Ming, and she's helping. So we grabbed the key that's in the barn. Oh, we don't want to go back in the barn. And then you head over here, kind of like you're going to see the hens, but instead you go through this door right here, and you end up right here. Go that way, actually, if you want to. If you head through that door and then head right, you'll find the tractor. But I'm going to be doing another out of bounds here, and this one's also not super difficult. If you jump into this wall, into the dirt part of the wall specifically, you'll see the puppy get stuck here. So once you're stuck like that, you want to just press, well, while you're stuck like that, I should say, you want to just like press so that you go left and you'll go through the wall. And you want to just go straight through the wall because right on the other side is this area here where the tractor is. And you want to skip the tractor cutscene because that's slow. There is a long black screen. Sometimes it's longer, depends on like your PC or your console, and that's okay. That is a known black screen. And these are some fun slow boosts that you gotta do to get back to Priscilla, because this time we're not death warping. And so here we are. It's Priscilla's birthday. We could give her this present, but this is a speedrun, so we don't. I like how the game makes you give Fluffy a jelly donut, but doesn't make you give Priscilla her birthday present.
You only need to get it, right?
No, you have to bring it back to Fluffy. So you have to give Fluffy a jelly donut. Oh, poor Priscilla. That's why we do incentives for giving Priscilla her birthday gift.
Oh, that's good.
There's also lots of other unintended things. It's not like you're going to just be playing the level normally, because you're definitely not supposed to be able to get up here. And actually, so yeah, people are mentioning the demo. This was the level that was on the demo, and on the demo, you can't do these jumps. You can't jump up here on the demo, but for some reason in the final, they like changed the water a little bit so that you can. And you don't have to actually take the demo or the whole game.
No, the demo. I think I played the demo of this.
That's amazing. Yeah, it was on a demo disc. I have it, actually, but I don't think I have the cover for it, so I couldn't see what the games are. It's got like 102 Dalmatians, and there's a Spyro, I think Spyro 3's on it. And some sports games and stuff. A Spider-Man game's on it, I think. But it's different. It's got different physics and stuff. Anyways, this is the slalom course, and you're supposed to like do well and get all the flags, but it turns out you don't have to do any of the flags to keep going, so we're not going to. I'm stopped here because I want to show you guys a quick boost that you can do at the top, and you have to do it at the top. If you roll over here so that you start falling, you gain a lot of speed from that fall. It's kind of like a slope boost. It's the same concept where like the falling speed interacts with the slope, but I'll show it again. You want to go to the left and hit this part here so that the puppy ends up falling. And some of them are bigger than others. Like the first one that I got wasn't that big of a boost. This one's also not that big of a boost. Sometimes you can slingshot like way past the end. That one was actually bigger than I thought because we went way past the end on that one. But you can go really fast sometimes. Oops, we don't want to start again. So that's another thing that's like worth trying, but it's not like a big deal if you miss it. Yeah, so this one's a slow one. But that's okay. You don't have to get any of the flags, you just go to the end, talk to Crystal, and then keep going. There is a cutscene trigger that you're gonna hit. You will always hit the first one, so don't worry about like trying to avoid the first one. But for the second one, you wanna head over here so that you don't hit the second one. And if you just like head straight to this area right here, it won't be a problem. You just don't wanna get too close to Jasper right here. I keep forgetting their names. You don't want to get too close to Jasper because he will trigger the cutscene. So like if you stop here from the first cutscene trigger, you can just like hold diagonally down and left and roll and you'll avoid the trigger. It's not super hard to avoid. And then once you're over here, there's another little skip you can do. You don't have to take any of those ice pieces. You just have to go to this area along the wall. And it is a very specific area. It's not anywhere. You can't do it over here. You can't do it over here. It's just kind of generally in this, like, if you see there's like a repeating pattern going on where like this is the first panel of the repeating pattern and then this is the second panel of the repeating pattern. It's in the second one from the right that you want to hit. And if you just jump and press forward, you should get over it. Maybe not right away, but on one of them. And that's it. Now you're at the end. And now we're in Ancient Castle. This is where we get more fun out of bounds. First part where it matters whether you're on console or PC. So if you're on Dreamcast or PlayStation, I'm going to talk about that first. The beginning is the same for both of them. You open this up, and then you jump down the fountain. And once you're here, this is where it gets different. If you're on console, you want to head towards this right here, this like lever. If you stand on it and press the button, it like makes the water level change, but we're not doing that. What you want to do is jump into this spot in the wall right here. And so if you do that, you should get out of bounds. It really is as simple as that. So I'll show that again. And you can, it's easy to get back in bounds here. It's also easy to get lost here because it's a giant blue void, but I'll talk about how not to get lost. So you just jump here. You can do it from the second step as well if you get a high enough jump, which is a little bit faster. Oh, this is slippery. You can do it here too. And then once you're out of bounds, you want to, I'm gonna pause it for a sec. You see this like texture in the background? It's like, it is the background texture actually. You want to aim for like, eventually. So you can float there like I'm doing. And there you see it's right there. If you want to be faster, this one's I think one of the easier ones to start practicing faster out of bounds movement, because there's some really clear cues that you can aim for. So if you aim here and then you start to roll and then jump and then roll and then jump just like you do in bounds, this is faster out of bounds movement and you will get there pretty reliably, like actually end up in the exit. Whereas if you do that in some other levels, like it's really easy to get lost. So yeah, this one's a good one to practice that on. Now if you're on PC, you're going to do a slightly different trick. So if you start, you know, you're in the same place as console, you just dropped down the fountain, you want to head for the stairs. And there's actually two different clip options that you have. I'm going to show you one that is almost as easy as the console trick. I say almost, it is. If you're a PC runner, I guess you can brag a little bit that you got some of the harder tricks, but it's almost as easy. Then there's another one that's a little bit more complicated, and I'm going to save that for the intermediate tricks that I'm going to do next, because that one uses this corner. It's faster, but it's a little bit more finicky, and I personally have gotten stuck on it in like marathon runs, so maybe that's just my own personal bias against the trick, but I don't think it's what you should start with. The other one that you can do is using this corner. And so remember I said in Barnyard, sometimes when corners have weird angles like this, you can just do things to get out of bounds with them. This is another one that's at that same angle. And so we're not going to be floating through the void in this one. We're going to use it to actually pop up to the upper level of the castle. Because if you remember how I said the out of bounds works, perfectly parallel with this wall that you're trying to clip into. So in this case, we're trying to clip into the wall on the right, so it's perfectly parallel here. Also, just like preface, you can do this on console. I'm currently doing it on console. It's just, there's two console exclusive tricks that you cannot do on PC. Everything else works on any console. So if you want to do this one on your PlayStation or Dreamcast, you can. And in fact, we do for some of the other routes like All Puppies. So once you have the puppy perfectly parallel to the wall that you're trying to clip into, and you also want the camera perfectly behind the puppy, that's when you can start jumping and walking forward. And with this one, it's pretty easy actually, because sometimes the puppy starts clipping almost immediately. You'll see the puppy slowly moving into the wall. In this case, it's not happening. And if it's not happening, you want to tap the camera just slightly, using the right camera button. And if you move the camera too much, that's okay. Just reset, get the camera behind the puppy, and then try it again. Try tapping the camera again. And you basically want to do this until you see the puppy moving into the wall. Sometimes you have to fight the camera a bit. That is the hardest part of this trick, is fighting the camera that wants to not do this. Okay, this one looks good actually. So the puppy's ear is like staying fully in the wall. I just tap a little bit now. Sometimes you'll get it instantly, sometimes you have to mess around with the camera. There we go! So I just, you know, walked right through the wall and now we're on top of the castle. When you get it, it happens pretty much instantly, and otherwise you might have to fight a little bit. So I'm gonna go back down so you can see that again. Walk into the wall, start jumping, not working, try tapping the camera, and then there you go. For this one, I'm not sure if it matters when you tap the camera for this one. For the other option that you can do on PC, it really matters that you tap the camera at the top of your jump. But I think this one you just have to get the camera to the right angle. It doesn't matter when you tap the camera. So just do it until you see the puppy moving into the wall. And yeah, this is perfectly normal puppy behavior. All puppies clip through walls. The good news about doing this trick... Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I was just gonna make a joke.
The good news about doing this trick is that there's supposed to be wind spawned at the top of the castle that pushes you back constantly, and you're supposed to like have to roll against the wind, but it doesn't spawn because we went out of bounds, which is great. It's much faster. Anyways, yes, normal puppy behavior.
So that's how all the puppies get out that we don't save, right? They just clip out?
Exactly, they clip out of the boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, my sister made a good point. If the puppies, if like we can save the puppies by just rolling into the box, they should be able to get out themselves.
Yeah,
because they should also be able to roll into the box.
Yeah. There's enough room in there if they just roll into a circle
room
to get up momentum.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, now we're on Cruella 3. We're going to fight Cruella with pumpkins this time. And this one has a manipulation that will help you get it a lot more consistently every time. And there's two versions of the manipulation. If you do the manipulation like fully, like you did everything perfect, then you'll save the most time and Cruella will end up exactly where you want her when you start being able to shoot her with the pumpkins. If you do the manipulation halfway right, which is a lot easier to get, it's still really useful because it means that you won't have to go through another cycle with her, and it means that you will still get her over to where you want her much faster than you would have otherwise. So that's why it's definitely worth trying to go for this, even if you can't get it fully right. So the first thing that I'm going to do is restart the level, and you want to immediately move left and shoot this first block out. Because we have to shoot all these blocks before we can shoot at Cruella. The next thing is I'm going to hit that block that's right there, just to the right. Right here. And then stop in the middle. And I already messed that up because I took too long, so you want to start moving immediately with this. So hit that one, come over here, reload, hit this one, and then stop in the middle here so that she throws a balloon. She's going to throw the balloon, and you want to start moving right again before the balloon like fully hits the ground, like that. And this is where it gets tricky. This is what separates like a full manipulation from just a partial manipulation. You need to stay on the ground as little as possible over here, but you still need to reload the catapult and shoot out that block that I'm right below right now. And that's where it gets tricky. And I still miss it sometimes because it's just some really tight movement. But if you go for it as good as you can, you'll still get pretty close and get the half manipulation. And so I know that the full manipulation didn't happen there because Cruella threw a balloon at me. But that's okay, I'm just going to keep going. And you want to shoot that one and reload. And then you just go across and shoot the rest of them. And if you got the full manipulation, Cruella will already be over here on the left side. But because I didn't, I have to wait a second for her to walk over. But the cool thing is that no matter, you know, which part of the manipulation you did, you can shoot her through this wall as long as she's turned to the side, because for some reason her hitbox comes through the wall and you can just hit her. You're not supposed to be able to do this, but you can. But once she's turned sideways, you can just keep holding the shoot button. Like this. And that's Cruella 3. And actually, I'm going to keep going here. Oh, it reloaded Cruella 3 anyways. That's interesting. Unintended side effects of the trainer. Alright, so we've defeated Cruella 3 times with various types of fruit. Now we're in Spooky Forest. And Spooky Forest is pretty straightforward. There's not any out of bounds that you can do. But there is a bit of like an enemy boost that you can do. There's, I've talked a lot about slope boosts. You can do kind of like an upgraded form of a slope boost with if you get the puppy trapped between something and the wall. So my goal right now is actually to use this toy soldier to get the puppy trapped on a slope. And I'm gonna reload that so I can, because this is an enemy trick. Don't worry about it if you can't get it fully. I just missed it right there. You wanna aim the soldier towards the wall. And bark to... Oh, yeah, that's not gonna work either. You wanna aim the soldier towards the wall and bark to get... I can't even hit the soldier. Walk here, bark, jump forward, and now you go really fast. Honestly, I would classify this more as an intermediate trick, so you might not want to worry about it at first. It really doesn't save that much time, but since it's so easy to show off, I'm just showing it off right now. And if you have the trainer, it's really easy to practice it over and over again. If you don't have the trainer, it can be really frustrating. But that's the general idea. Then you roll over this way. And you roll to the end. And Spooky Forest, the next level is Hedge Maze. It is called a maze, but honestly, Spooky Forest is more of a maze, so you definitely want to make sure you memorize like which exits I'm taking in that one. And now we're on to Hedge Maze. Like I said, Hedge Maze is a maze. Luckily, we don't get to see, or we don't have to see much of it. We just kind of go through it with only flipping a few switches. So you do want to flip that switch. You can just roll straight through this giant tumbleweed. That's not important. And then you head following the path that I am taking. One thing that is important to know about Hedge Maze is that RNG really matters here. And it matters because of this puzzle. You have to complete this puzzle to finish the level. And how many turns it's going to take to finish this puzzle is dependent on RNG. We don't have any kind of manipulation for this because the other thing about this level is that on every single frame, the RNG is changing because there's like these cricket sound effects happening and bird sound effects. Those are all controlled by the RNG as well. So like there's no chance that we will ever be able to manipulate this. You just have to hope that the game likes you that day. Each of these pieces can take up to 3 turns. So I had, I think, 2 there and then 1, and this is another 2. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. That was actually a little bit worse than average. So the lowest that it can take is 9 turns because each one would then be only turned once. The most it can take is 27 turns. Average is 18 turns. It does actually work out like that if you just look at like raw percentages of how many times each one appears. So you're hoping for less than 18, but sometimes it doesn't work out like that one. But the exit is right after this. Oh, we're not saving. My muscle memory is trained for Dreamcast, and if you're on Dreamcast and you take the memory card out, it doesn't even ask you to save. You can just press A to skip through the save screen. So I keep trying to do that and then accidentally saving. But now we're in DeVille Manor. There's an out of bounds you can do with this toe spot right here. That's definitely one of the more complicated enemy clips, so I'm going to talk about it afterwards in the intermediate tricks. And instead, I'm just going to go up here. Oops, not on the wall. We are almost to the end, by the way. We have almost defeated Corella for the last time. There's a fun slope boost you can do here that actually, like, it saves a lot of time. Because you're going to go down this vent. And you're supposed to just fall down, but you can end up all the way on here. And it's actually kind of tricky to get. So I'll do that again. So you can see, if you want to head back up, you just fall there because physics, it doesn't make any sense. Like, in space, that makes no sense. But that's what you do. So you want to roll down here. You can do 2 full rolls, and then you jump at the end. And you end up here. And if you get enough speed, you might get catapulted right into this puppy. And you might accidentally save a puppy. I like to joke that it's not a real speedrun because you saved a puppy, but it happens. And now we're into the second to last level. The last level before the last Corella fight. Toy Factory. And this is another cycle-based one. Which I've already messed up the cycles by taking really, really uneven paths. I think I messed it up again. That's okay. The cycles in this level are more subtle than Big Ben. Like, it's really easy to see when you've made the cycles in Big Ben. It's a bit harder to see, and there's a lot more going on in this level. I'll try one more time, but I'm not used to this controller, so I'll just blame the controller. Yeah, so if you can get to this before it moves up for the first time, that's fine. More important is making this jump here. So you're supposed to go up and around and down here, but we're not going to do that. That is slow. We're going to do another jump like we just did in the Big Ben, like we did in Lumber Mill, if you tried that one. We're going to jump over to here, and so it's kind of like Big Ben, where, whoops, not like that. You can line yourself up on the corner and then make the jump. You can also put yourself at a diagonal and then make the jump. The diagonal, the problem with this one is that you can see like it's sloping upwards here. So you don't want to aim too far this way because you just won't have the height. You kind of want to stay over here and make it to here. Do that. Oh, not that. So once you're here, the camera does do a weird shift, but you can, your goal is to get up here. And actually, yeah, let's do another Dalmatian. Look, 2 Dalmatians. The next thing we want to do is jump to here. You are actually supposed to get here. This is an intended jump, although it is kind of tight sometimes. And then you jump over to here. There is another penguin clip that you can do on this penguin here. This one's even harder than the Ice Festival one though, so that is not recommended at first. I don't even recommend it for myself. I've done it before, but like, it's a rough one. But you get to the next room. This is where you get to some more cycle-based stuff. Because you can get boosts off of these crushers, these big scary machines that Cruella has for some reason. We could probably talk about this. Like, Cruella, the story is that Cruella's toy business is failing, and she thinks it's because everybody's spending their money on pets. In the meantime, though, this is her toy factory. I don't see any toys being made. Maybe that's why her toy business is failing.
Like she put a lot of money in her security system and not into the toys.
Exactly. She made a toy business. Really, it's a security business. So you can get, oh yeah, that was a good boost. You can get boosts on all of these. Sometimes you can roll into it like while it's moving and get the boost if you like are a little bit late on the cycle. But if you get there before it's moving, you can just jump into the side of it like this and you'll get the boost. And it's just some nice little speed tech. And then we're gonna head across these boxes. And we're going to head through here. I like to jump through these ones because sometimes when you're jumping you don't... Oh, I got a boost there. That is rare actually. The goal is not to get a boost there, but you can sometimes. If you jump through them though, especially if you're low on health, that can be useful because if you're jumping, there's a chance you won't get hit when they like crush on you for some reason. I'm stopped here because this is the next console exclusive trick. So I'm going to show the console version. The PC version is harder. The PC version I would not classify as a beginner trick at all, so I will be going over it after this in the intermediate section. So unfortunately for PC players, probably just do the rest of this level in bounds at first because it uses the same type of thing that we do in Big Ben where we use the punching bag to get out of bounds. So by the end of the intermediate part you'll also know how to do that, but it's a really frustrating trick to try to do it first. For console players, so if you're on Dreamcast or PlayStation, you're going to use this box that I'm supposed to jump on. You're going to use it to get out of bounds. So the first step is to jump onto it. And I'm going to be doing an easier version of this trick that G-Correct just discovered recently, actually. What you can do is you can pause buffer this trick, actually. And so there are faster ways to do this without pause buffering. And once you're comfortable with the pause buffer version, I would definitely recommend looking into those. But especially at first, this will really help you to get this trick down. What you want to do is you want to roll off this box when the bottom of the box is in line with this first lowest part of the window. And that holds for whether you're doing it the pause buffered way or not. But with pause buffering, you have a really nice cue for whether or not that's true. The only tricky part about this is pausing and unpausing fast enough for the puppy to only move a little bit. So that can be definitely a little bit hard. I actually sometimes miss it too. So once the box stops, oh, see, oh no, I didn't go too far. Okay, that's still the lowest box. If you stop with the box in the lowest window, you can just hold the roll button and then unpause to get out of bounds. And that's it, you're out of bounds. The way that it works is you roll over the top of the level, basically, and this doesn't work on PC because they made a better wall there. Yes, it is pause buffering. It does say paused, P-A-W-S, paused. Once you're out of bounds, it's the black void. This one's definitely one of the most confusing out of bounds areas. What you should know is if you keep going forward, you will eventually start to see things. And so I can see something right there. And so definitely head towards things that you see because they will help you get to places that you do know. This is not the room that, oh, this is the room that we're heading for. So once you see something, it should be this room with the 102 in it. I'm gonna do that whole thing again though, because that was a lot going on. So again, you want to, oh, I did not pause in time. You do not want to do that. And you want to make sure the puppy's all the way on the top edge of the box like I am now. I'm actually a little bit far, but that should be fine. Ah, I messed up my pauses. It's easy, I promise, as I mess it up every time. Oh, okay, that can happen, where the game is just mean, and sometimes you get hit by nothing on this conveyor belt. I think what might be happening is that these penguins down here, like it gets confused for some reason on like where they should be hitting, and it hits you even though you're above them. I'm not actually sure if that's what's happening, but that's what it seems like to me. You can also clip into the crate and take damage, which is why it's really nice to not like be really low on health for this part of the game, because you can just take damage just cuz sometimes. This one might work. Let's try it. So then you unpause and hold roll, and it did work. And so in this case, like I said, just hold forward. The actual room is forward and a bit right, so you could go a little bit right to aim yourself in the right place, and then it will appear. Just trust that it'll appear, you have to, in the void. Oh, I have to show the other version though. Can't stop there. If you're on PC, or if that trick is not working for you, you can keep going. And you just go through these rooms. Kind of normally. Semi-normally. Not fully normally. Don't worry, we still have skips. The one thing to be aware of, you have to be careful with these crushers here. It's possible to soft lock by falling through the floor. What happens is you get like flung out at really high speed, and it will eventually spawn you back at the beginning with none of the machinery operational, so you're just kind of stuck there and have to reload the level. To avoid it, you wanna go along the sides so that you're not too close to the middle, and you can get boosts off of them too. This room you can just roll through. There's a puzzle that you can do if you want to like save a puppy or get bones, but we're not going to do that. And then you head over here to go up this wind tunnel elevator. And what you're supposed to do in this area is there's 3 switches. There's one way over here that you kind of can't see, and then there's this one, and then there's the one that we're next to. You're supposed to hit all of them. We're only going to hit one. But if you're struggling with this final jump, you can definitely hit more of them. Because if you miss the jump, at that point you might as well have hit all the switches. So that's why it might be useful to hit the switches to get a better time. But what you want to do, what's supposed to happen when you hit the second switch, this gear moves closer to the other one. And when you hit the last switch, another platform comes up so that you can just walk to the end. We're not going to do that. We're going to first do this jump. This one's a lot easier. It's still tricky. Not saying it's not tricky, but it's a lot easier than this one. This one is where things get complicated. You basically have to jump as soon as the puppy walks off the edge. And so the way that I practice this one is to kind of like sit here and then wait for this to turn so that you can see there. And see, I even missed it just there. Don't worry, we have a save state for that. So if you sit, oh, don't fall off. If you sit on the gear and wait for it to turn around, that can kind of help you get the timing down. You want to jump at the last possible moment though. There's now an easier way to do it though, using jump buffering. So when you jump and walk off an edge, the puppy will jump. So like if I'm holding the jump button and walk off the edge, you saw I just jumped there. And you can actually use that to jump at the right moment. So if you jump from the second gear and then get to here, you can make sure that you're jumping at the right time. The tricky part is that you do still have to roll at the right time. Oh, you know what? This I think is the wrong save state. This isn't possible. We're gonna have to go back. We're gonna have to go back a bit. Because I think the second switch is flipped there. That's okay. We can fix it. I could do that trick. I'm not going to. I'm just gonna roll back through it. The nice thing about the jump is that you can retry it as much as possible. It's really low stakes. Like, you're not gonna die or anything. And you just have to get used to the muscle memory for it, for what that jump is. And this is definitely the trickiest jump like this. This is definitely the trickiest jump like this. Like, I talked about the Big Ben one, I talked about the one at the beginning. This one's the hardest, so if you can get this one, you've done the hardest jumps that we have. So let me show you with jump buffering again. You can do it for this one too. You can just keep holding jump this whole time. And I still missed it. But the jump is at the right time. The important thing is that the jump is at the right time when you do the jump buffer method. And then all you have to do is worry about rolling at the right time. There we go. So honestly, the best way to practice this jump is to just keep doing it over and over again. But that's it, we've made it to Cruella 4. You can also use that auto jump anywhere else, like you can use it in Big Ben too if you're falling off. Like if you're missing jumps on the way up a lot, you can hold down jump for that as well. For this one, you'll notice we've upgraded a bit. Cruella has a goo gun. We have lasers. So let's go take a look at our laser. Oh, did I, Yeah, there we go. Let's get a laser. I'm gonna actually restart so that I know that we're got everything right. So you can skip the cutscene, roll over here, get the laser. You can't shoot Cruella with it. You can only shoot her machines. So the first thing you want to do is first press whatever button is shield, and then aim to the left and a little bit down, and you'll hit all these boxes in one cycle, which is really great. The next thing that's going to happen is there's going to be a bunch of robot heads. These ones, RNG is a factor here. You have to just hope that they all pop up like right away. Well, yeah. The goal that I'm going to teach you today is a 4-cycle Cruella 4, which means that you have 4 different lasers that you're going to use. Using 1 laser for the boxes, 2 lasers for the robot heads, and then 1 laser for the orbs at the end. If it takes longer than that, that's okay too. It's just that you won't know anymore where the last orb is going to pop up, which is something that you will know using the 4-cycle method. So again, you can use the shield, and then you just shoot where the heads pop up. You want to get 3 or 4 in with your first laser. And you'll see every time you shoot, you start to drain energy, so you don't want to shoot like way more than you have to hit them. And now you see the last one didn't even pop up, so I was just stuck at 3, and that's that. If you get 3 and 3, that's good too, though. And this is bad RNG. Now that you've gotten all the robot heads, now these giant electric orbs appear. I'm gonna wait for 2 of them to appear. That's a really common strategy to make sure that you have enough energy for the 3rd orb, because on 3 out of 3, that's time. You've finished the game, you've defeated Cruella. And because of the fact that this is a 4-cycle Cruella fight, I know where the last orb's gonna pop up. Even though they have random movement, they always appear in the same place. So, okay, I didn't actually wait for the second one to appear, but that's fine. If you're running low on energy, you can unshield and only shield when Cruella shoots at you. The last orb is going to pop up to the bottom right of Cruella, and I'm going to move the laser there now. Oh, that one didn't work. All right, well, we're just gonna have to do that again. You guys get to see a bonus second run through of Cruella 4. So aim down here. Today I learned that you cannot press X to exit the menu and hold your shield at the same time. There's a little bit of a faster strat you can do where you can actually do this in 3 cycles. Because it turns out if you wait about 1.5 seconds before the robot head appears, or after the robot head appears, it's no longer invincible. So you can keep that in mind, even though I'm not showing it here. So there I got 5 of them, actually. I didn't get that one fast enough. Let's do that again. If you stand behind it, she can't shoot you, luckily. So if I wait for both of these to appear, 1, 2, and then the last one is down here. And you can just start shooting after a little bit and you'll know that you'll hit it as soon as it appears. So that's 3 out of 3, that's time. You've defeated Cruella, and you've done your first all levels out of bounds speedrun. And now you can see Cruella's master plan. She was supposed to throw the puppies into the super gloop to turn them into lifelike toys. But that didn't happen. And it was also just a terrible idea in the first place because who wants green gloopy puppies? Cruella thought that the kids did that, though.
I feel like somebody else could have been put in charge of making the toys at some point.
Yeah, right? Somebody should have been like, alright, you've had some good ideas. Maybe she hasn't had good ideas, but you can tell her she's had some good ideas. Let's have somebody else do this. But no. Of course not.
Let's go find Mom and Dad.
So now you just get the end cutscene. This doesn't count towards time. You can watch it if you want to. But that's the beginner route. And the next thing that I'm going to do, really quick, this shouldn't take super long. I'm going to show some intermediate tricks that you can do. That's before I move on to the All Puppies run. So, these intermediate tricks are ones that you can add. You want to make sure that you're comfortable with Crate Clip. If you're comfortable with Crate Clip, you can add these whenever you want to. Some people add them right away. Some people want more out of bounds than what I've shown, and so, you know, even though these are a little bit harder, it's definitely doable to put them in your first runs. It's just that it's going to be like longer until you do your first full run. So just keep that in mind. You are about to see, after this part of the cutscene, you're about to see Cruella covered in gloop. So just keep in mind, this was her plan here. This was her plan here. I'll wait just a second for this cutscene to get to the next part. Here we go. This was her plan for the puppies, and this is what she was going to sell.
Keep us like this? Approximately 20 years, my sweet. Not quite as long as our prison sentences.
So, great toy. She had a great idea there, definitely.
Bestseller, for sure.
Nothing wrong with that here. Okay, let's do some intermediate tricks real quick. Then I think we're gonna have a break and then we'll do some All Puppies. So, the first one that I'm gonna talk about, I'm actually not gonna do this. I'm going to bring us back to the start of the level. So the first one that I'm gonna talk about, it is in Regent's Park. It's actually not super hard to do, it's just that it causes a lot of resets, which is why I didn't put it in the beginner route. This one's called Gate Clip. And actually this one you don't need to know about Crate Clip to do. Gate Clip, Crate Clip, this is getting very confusing, isn't it? We're gonna clip into this gate right here. That's why it's called Gate Clip. This one's actually a little bit different from the All Puppy, or from the I can't talk anymore. It's been an hour and a half. This one's different from the Crate Clip type clips because we're not going to be clipping out of bounds, we're going to be clipping through a ledge. So basically on the other side of this, there's a loading zone, and we can't get there normally. But if you just very barely edge off the side of this, you will clip into the side and hit the loading zone, and then the end is right here. And so you can do it like I just did. This one's this gate clip. You can do it like I just did, where you can jump buffer and then like walk off the side really slow. That's a perfectly valid way to do it. You just have to make sure that you're doing it fast enough that you get there faster than you would using the other method. The other way that we do it is kind of like a YOLO strat. And this is why it causes lots of resets. This is definitely the fastest way of doing this trick, but you kind of have to get a feel for like jumping in the right spot so that you just hit it like that. And I made that look really easy. I actually miss it probably 75% of the time. Like 1 out of every 4 runs I start gets through this trick. So that's why it's definitely, I just got it again. Of course I did. I promise this trick is hard. You kind of have to get a feel for like where to jump. It's not like a full jump, it's kind of a partial jump. I should just talk about how awful this trick is every time I want to get it, because that's apparently how to get the trick. But this is what it would look like if you did it optimally. And if you're okay with most of your runs being reset here, yeah, like that. A lot of times you jump past it and just nothing happens. If you're okay with most of your runs being reset here, then you can start working with that one. The next one is, I'm actually going to go out of order. I'm going to show Toastbot clip next. This is one of the easier enemy clips that you can do. This one's in Museum, so I alluded to this a little bit. If you're in Museum and you're doing the 4th task where you're supposed to get the crown, the inbounds route is to go into the dinosaur room and go around. But you can head straight to this room with the goal of clipping out of bounds to get to the 2nd level. You can see the 2nd level up here. That's the goal. The reason that we can is we can use this Toastbot right here. And the reason that this one's a little bit easier than other ones is because if you get to the right spot on the tile, it's pretty consistent to get this one. So that's what it looks like. I'm gonna actually kill Toastbot really quick. No, stop. What you want to do is you want to walk into the room, and Toastbot will see you before you even like see Toastbot. Toastbot starts to see you in this area, so you do have to be careful with your movement. But what you want to do is you want to end up on the 3rd tile right here. Let me get the camera at a better angle. You can do it anywhere on like the 2nd half of the tiles, so you can see like this tile has the triangle. Anywhere here usually works. If you're too far this way or too far this way, it doesn't work. Again, I've also noticed a little bit of a difference depending on what console you're on in terms of like if you should be further this way or further this way. Kind of in the middle of this, like at the 75% mark of the tile, I think is the best place to go, because your goal is to get Toastbot to push you against the wall. So you can just walk here, and once Toastbot has pushed you against the wall, it's as simple as turning around and jumping. Except I didn't get it there. If it doesn't work the first time, first of all, this is why this isn't really a beginner trick, because if you miss it, you start losing time pretty much instantly. But if it doesn't work the first time, you can kind of push up against Toastbot to get it back against the wall, and sometimes it'll work the 2nd time. And it'll look like nothing really changed because there's another Toastbot up here, but that is the 2nd Toastbot. It's not the same Toastbot. And then you just roll over here to get to this. So let me show that one more time. Again, you want to be fast about this. But once you're here, you just wait for Toastbot to come. And you know it's going to work when it looks like this. That one that I did before was kind of questionable because the camera didn't move out of bounds. This goes back to the same thing I was talking about with Crate Clip. If the camera moves out of bounds, you're doing great. It's probably going to work. And you just jump and you're up here. So that one is an easier clip that you can do with enemies. I am now going to show you one of the harder ones, and I'm going to go back to Big Ben for that. Because like I said, everybody wants to add Punching Bag Clip, just like everybody wants to add Penguin Clip. Punching Bag Clip is in the tall room in Big Ben. It's the 4th room out of 5. You can use this punching bag to get out of bounds. The problem is that this punching bag really doesn't like to cooperate with you. The first thing about the punching bag you should know is that 3 barks will kill it. And then you're out of luck because you have no more punching bag. And you need to bark at the punching bag to do the trick. Let me just show you what the goal is first before I start talking about it. You want to bark it against the wall and then turn around. And I didn't even get it there. I barked twice when I only needed to bark once. That's the goal. The problem is that you have to bark at the punching bag. It's easy to accidentally kill it. And the punching bag likes to not cooperate. If you have barked at it twice and you don't want to kill it, you can roll back to this puppy box and come back and it'll be respawned. It won't look any different, but it'll be respawned and then you can bark at it again. to do the trick, what you have to do, first you want to line up so that you are perfectly, like you and the punching bag and the wall are in a perfect line. Then you want to walk forward and bark at the punching bag so that it gets close to the wall and keep walking through it. And this is why it becomes really complicated, because you have to do this all before the punching bag turns around and hits you again. Once you're there, you see I already kind of turned around. You don't want to turn around too fast because that won't work. And you don't want to turn around too slow because the punching bag will hit you again. So it's kind of like finding that happy medium where the camera comes out of bounds and then it's as simple as jumping, like it is with the other ones. The problem being, of course, it's not that simple at all, because this one's one of those ones that even when you're really confident in your ability to do this trick, sometimes it'll just come out of nowhere and not work. I use the camera a lot to really reposition like the angle, since the angle's so important. You'll also see I'm sitting here and like jumping when it tries to hit me so that I don't lose life. I wait until right after it's done an attack so that it doesn't try to attack right away. And then you just gotta go for it. It's the same thing that you do when you do, whoops, that's not the right one. It's the same thing you do when you do crate clip, it's just that now you have a time limit and an enemy that can die or kill you. The problem with this one is that if you miss it, see there, I didn't get it. And I think I can try one more time, I only did it once. So if you miss it the first time, you can try again. If you miss it a second time, you have to go and respawn it, or otherwise it'll die. Like that. If you miss it even once, it probably at that point is faster for you to just do the inbounds route. That's why you'll see people reset to this a lot, because like missing it and then trying again really doesn't save you time. Oh, okay, I've just made it. It's okay if he hits you, that's fine. Once you're out of bounds, this is also the tricky part. Once you're out of bounds, you have to get to the right place. You have to end up in the room to get to the exit. So the way that I do it, I immediately turn around and just start floating in that direction. So like the room that we're going for is straight ahead this way. Just keep going this way and you'll get to it. The problem, of course, is that when we do the trick, we're faced like this. So in the out of bounds, immediately after you get out of bounds, you want to turn around and start heading that way. So what I do is I turn around and just start, I turn around, move the camera so that I'm facing forward, and then float that way. That's what I do, so that the camera doesn't mess up my angle at all. Because if you are moving and moving the camera, then you might end up with an angle that isn't quite straight ahead. So let's see that again. And I'll show you guys where you're heading towards. And I fell right off that one. Oops. This is definitely one of the most frustrating tricks to learn. I hear it constantly. I experienced it as well. But I turn around. Oh, never mind. I move the camera and the puppy at the same time. I think that's something that I've done with more muscle memory. I don't recommend doing both those things at the same time at first. But this is the room that you're heading towards. And you don't want to go too high or too low because you'll lose track of where the room is. So I usually do one roll. And then the exit's right here. Oh. And in that case, I actually got in bounds a little bit early, which is something that can totally happen. So you want to make sure you're not a little bit early, because the room is directly in front of me and above. Like, this is why a trainer is really useful. Who needs walls, right? So I'm gonna go through this. This is where the exit is, compared to where I just was. So I went back in bounds a little bit too early, and it actually made it so that I couldn't get to the exit very fast. Sometimes it takes a while for you to see the level again after you get out of bounds. Like, you can fall really low, and then you have to wait slowly for the puppy to float. Oh, come on. Oh, or sometimes you just get totally lost and then you can't find where you are and you're just stuck in the void forever, so that's the existential crisis of running 102 Dalmatians.
That sounds like a terrible nightmare, to be honest.
It's okay. If you actually, in reality, if you ever get lost and you don't know where you are, press the roll button once, fall and you'll end up back at the beginning. Oh, there's the level! Whoa! I found it, guys! But if you're in the void, let me turn the walls back off. If you're in the void and you don't know where you are, don't panic. Just roll so that you're falling and you'll eventually spawn back at the beginning. You will not be lost forever. The next one that I said I was going to talk about is in Lumber Mill. We can just go to the start of the level. This is the fastest strat, is to use this bulldozer to get out of bounds. There's an alternate one that you can do with damage boosting, where you use the tank that's over by the logs to damage boost out. That's another option, but it's not as fast, so I won't be talking about it here. What you want to do is you want to lure this bulldozer so that it follows you straight into the wall, and then you flip it so that it presses you against the wall, and then you get out of bounds. And I made that look easy. This one's a little bit easier than Punching Bag, actually. The hardest part is knowing exactly when to flip the bulldozer. So if you do it too early or too late, or at the wrong angle, I don't know why that one worked. Okay, it didn't. Good. I was like, this one should not be working. If you do it too early or too late or at the wrong angle, it won't be right. Either like it won't trap you against the wall at all, or it won't push you out of bounds, or nothing happens like that. Basically, the way that I learned it for myself is like, no, I don't want that one. Like you can see there's like texture on the floor. So I picked out a texture about this far from the puppy, and I always made sure to go to the same spot. And like the same spot left to right on the wall. Like, let me just get rid of the bulldozer for now. The way to be consistent at this trick is to always go to the same spot. So like if you start going here, always go here. If you start going more this way, you know, always go to this spot. Because what works best is to pick a spot on the floor and then just like approximately this far from the puppy. Whenever the bulldozer crosses that, that's when you roll. And so that's the cue that you should use to, oops, well, we could have infinite health. That's the cue that you can use to know when you should press the roll button. And depending on your reaction time, it's going to be a little bit before or a little bit after what I just said. Definitely pick what works for you. If you miss the first one, you can still keep going. Sometimes the angle gets a bit off, though. In that case, it did work. But if you're like a little bit too far to the left or right, you might have to correct that. But once you get used to flipping the bulldozer over at the right time, it's the same idea as Cray Clip. It's the same idea as Punching Bag Clip. And once you're in the out of bounds, this one's a little bit easier, less risk of getting lost in the void. You want to follow this wall here, and you'll see that this is like the whole level that you can see. You just want to follow the wall along the outside of the level. And then eventually you're going to turn to the left. And oh, let me actually roll a little bit so that we can see better. So this is the thinnest part of the level that's right in front of me here. This little corridor right here is the thinnest part of the level. And that's important because we need to get over it. We need to get to the other side because the exit is like over here in the distance. So to do that, what you want to do is you want to make sure you have enough speed, or enough height, sorry. You want to be high enough and then roll straight over it. And so you see I made it. If you don't have enough height, you will get trapped in bounds again, which isn't the end of the world. You can continue the run at that point, just doing the inbounds. But it's, you know, not ideal. You want to get over it and get right here to get to the end. The next thing I said I would talk about is there's a harder version of Barnyard Hens where you... I'm gonna go back. We're gonna pretend like I just talked to Priscilla and she just told us to put the hens in the coop. So she just told us that. We're heading this way. You head over here and you take... Oh, never mind. I have no health in this save state, apparently. That's a problem. That's not a problem, actually. You would go over there, you'd get hit by that bulldozer 3 times. This one's already set up for the death warp, though. I didn't even think about that. This save state's already set up for the death warp, so we only have 1 health. And that's important because what I'm going to do is get the hens in, and then at the same time that the last hen goes in, I'm going to take the last point of damage. Except I'm going to do this properly. So hen 1, never mind, hen 1 didn't go in. See, this is what I mean about the hens. Like, sometimes they just say, no, actually, I'm not going to. And now this one's jumping around. Okay, now we've got the last one. Gonna bark this one in and then go over here and do this. And you'll hear that the hen cutscene happened at the same time that we were dying. So that saves one of those cutscenes. It's just not recommended for beginners because if you die too early, the last hen won't go in at all and you'll have to go and do it again. So that's not cool. It's not cool when you have to do that. But then you just continue like normal. It's the same as the rest of the level. Oh, Ice Festival Penguin. Ice Festival Penguin. Let's talk about Ice Festival Penguin. The reason that we do Ice Festival Penguin, because... Oh, didn't want to do that. Let's go back to those save states. Oh, we were there for some reason. If I have walls off and I just go through this wall, the exit's right here. So obviously we want to be able to do that in the game. So I'm going to show that again. Ice Festival Penguin clip, I might have actually started too late, uses this penguin to get out of bounds. And it saves like 45 seconds. And you can actually miss it multiple times and still save time in the run because it saves so much time. Problem is that you have like a 3-frame window for doing it. And that was way early. The general idea for what you want to do for Ice Festival Penguin clip is you want to roll forward, jump over the penguin, go to the right spot on the wall, and then jump at the right time so that you damage boost through the wall. And so to break it down into steps, you roll forward, jump over the penguin, and then run to this spot on the wall. It's specifically this spot right in front of the puppy. You can be a little bit this way or a little bit this way, but if you go too far, it won't work at all. So you want to make sure that you are in that spot. Let's get rid of this penguin for a sec. You walk straight into it so that you're perpendicular, turn the camera around, and then very slowly turn the puppy so that you're really close to the wall. And at this point, the penguin's going to slide into you so that you're pressed against the wall. And then that's where it gets complicated because that's where you have to do it on exactly the right, like 3 to 5 frames. It actually depends on your setup. Some setups it's a little bit longer, like 5 frames. And the way that I do it is through a sound cue. So I actually have to have sound when running this game because the penguin laughs. And that one didn't work because I slid off. The penguin laughs, and you want to press jump basically at the... Let me do it again. So you can, like, the penguin goes, ha 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 ha. It's on that last laugh of the first part, because then it starts laughing again. On the last laugh of that first part, the last huh, you want to press the jump button. And if you get it, you'll go through the wall. And you want to be pressing down if that happens. Or right, left, that's the direction. Down or left will get you through the wall then. Now I'm not getting it again, even though I got it once. The best spot to go on the wall kind of depends on your preference and also what system you're on. Dreamcast, I like to go a little bit more to the right. PlayStation and PC, I think you can go a little bit more to the left. But that is what Penguin looks like. And I've just got... What was that?
That one's kind of more like feel it for yourself kind of thing and figure out what works best.
Yeah, definitely. Because once you get like a spot that works for you, going to it every time is going to be like the important thing. I've just got a few more things to talk about. The next one is in Ancient Castle. I said that there's a harder version of the PC clip. again, the reason that I didn't include this in the beginner one is because it's really easy to just like try it over and over again and not have it work. But instead of, I'm gonna actually back up a sec. You're here, you're going up the steps. You want to, instead of like climbing up there and going to that corner, you want to go to this corner here, and it's the same idea. You want to be perfectly parallel to the wall you're trying to clip through, which is the one on the right, and then you start jumping. But in this case, you have to tap the camera to the right, the right camera button, and you also have to press to move right at the same time in order for this to work. And you want to press the camera button at the top of your jump, the very top, and you also want to be pressing left or pressing right at that same time, because if you don't, you're going to go straight forward and you're going to end up back in bounds. So this one's an easy one to like, even when you get it right, sometimes you can end up back in bounds and then you're losing time. Once you're out of bounds though, this one's a lot like the one that you do on console. You just want to aim for like the bottom of this right here, and then you can just go. And now you're at the top. And we actually were a little bit too far to the left, so you can aim more right on that one. Then we've got Toastbot Clip in Mansion. Oh, that's weird. Let's try that again. Okay. In this one, we're going to use this Toastbot to get through the wall. And there's an easier version and a harder version. In the harder version, you actually use the toast itself to get out of bounds. But you don't have to worry about that when you're starting out. You just have to get out of bounds in the first place. And so this one's got some kind of like precise movement you gotta do. This one's definitely one of the harder enemy clips that we're doing. Actually, yeah, that was using toast to get out of bounds. But now that you've seen what it looks like, the important thing, you want to stop on this spot on the floor, wait for the toast to hit you, and then press forward. You don't want to be knocked back completely. You have to press forward so that you're not fully knocked back. So let the toast hit you and then press forward. And that was actually a really bad angle, so we're going to do it again. Let the toast hit, press forward, and now we're here. You want to go perfectly perpendicular to the wall, and then if you got the movement like fully correct, then you'll get hit out of bounds by the toast. If you were a little bit not correct, that's fine. Sometimes it'll still work perfectly fine. It's just that you'll have to wait a second for the toast bot to come and push you against the wall. So in this case, I kind of took like a roundabout way to the wall. And this is fine because now the toast bot itself is going to get us out of bounds. And once you're out of bounds, you're heading over in this direction. Oh, that was actually not good because I got back in bounds too early. And just to be clear, it's this square on the floor. So like from when we start, you're going towards this spot here, this square. So you stop here, go over here in a straight line, face the wall, and that one did not work. And that can happen if you're a little bit wrong path, a little bit too far to the side. Any of those things can be problems. This one's it's definitely most consistent to get hit into the floor and then use Toastbot to get out of bounds though, so I recommend that. And then I turn around and head. So I turn straight around, and then once you're turned around, you want to head not there. I was going too far left. I keep getting too far left and going back in bounds early is what's happening there. And yes, this is the PlayStation version, but there's also a Dreamcast version and a PC version. And we have people run on all of them. Oh, Toastbot said no. Toastbot, that's rude. Alright, one more time. So you wait for Toastbot to come to the wall, jump up again, turn around, jump out. I am not going to get back in bounds unintentionally this time. So if you keep getting lost or something like that, you can just kind of take it slower. I did it again. I'm used to the Dreamcast version where I can see all these things. I'm just gonna get out of bounds with my nice wall hacks. You're aiming for this room here. It's past the room that I keep getting back in bounds at. And it has the exit in it. So I keep getting back in right there. It's just a little bit past it right here. And that's that. One last thing that I'm going to mention, but not like fully demonstrate, is the alternative PC strat for So you know, we spent a lot of time on this crate clip, this version of crate clip where you, not that, that's bad. You don't want to clip inside the crate. We spent a lot of time on this one for the console versions. If you're on PC and you feel ready to add some trickier things to your run, ride the crate up and then go back here, and there's a punching bag back here. And so it's the same idea as the one in Big Ben, where you just bark it closer to the wall. In this case, you usually have to bark it twice to get it close enough. Sometimes once is good. And then to respawn it, you just have to go back here. So it's the same deal as what you do with Big Ben. Once you're out of bounds, once you get out of bounds with this punching bag, you want to head sideways. Instead of going straight back, you head sideways. And if you head this way and just keep going along the wall, eventually you'll see it so that you have your bearings, and then you can get to the end. And that is the best PC alternative. Oops, see, I accidentally respawned because I dropped too low. That's the best PC alternative to that console exclusive wall clip that we have in Toy Factory. And that's it. That's the intermediate tricks if you would like to upgrade your all levels out of bounds run.
Awesome. I know we have another run, but you, like, all of that was pretty well explained. Like, I didn't really have any questions, so thank you so much. Like, that was awesome.
Awesome. Mission accomplished. That's great to hear.
With that said, we do have another run coming up, so just a few quick reminders before we take a quick break to get set up for that. Your subs, Prime Gaming subs, gift subs, and Bitch Cheered on the GDQ Twitch channel do help support GDQ Hotfix, so if you like any of the shows you're watching, if you like these tutorials, if you like horror speedruns, which are coming up next, or any of our other shows, it really does help us if you subscribe. And also, the SGDQ 2023 schedule is out now, so you can go to GameZoneQuick.com or use !SGDQ in chat for more information on that. With that said, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back with All Puppies. Hello everybody, welcome back to the GameZone Quick Hotfix. This is How to Train a Speedrunner. We are here with 102 Dalmatians, and we are going to be learning All Puppies now. I'll hand it right back over.
Yeah, hi everybody, I'm Passeray again, and this is the All Puppies category. So in this one, unlike the All Levels category, we're going to save all 96 puppies. And no, there are not 102 puppies, 96 puppies. And so there's 6 in all levels that aren't Cruella levels. And so this one's mostly going to be about me showing you where they all are, and showing you some of the specific movement tech that you might want to use in All Puppies. That might be a little bit different from what you would use in all levels. So just to start out, I will go over the movement again, and if you missed it for the first part, and also talk a little bit about languages. So first of all, I am using a trainer. You can find that on speedrun.com. It has a lot of awesome tools for you to use. Second of all, the fastest way to move around is rolling. Since you can't roll all the time, you want to be able to jump between those rolls, and if you just press and hold jump anytime while you're rolling, the puppy will automatically jump when the roll is over. So you can check out that input display to see like how I'm pressing these buttons. Another thing is slope boosts. If you see a slope anywhere, like this one right here, if you jump and then roll onto it, you're going to go a lot faster and a lot further than you would otherwise. So you see I got a lot of speed there. And then the final thing that is specific to the All Puppies category, I have to find a puppy to do this. The puppies are kept in crates. Cruella has trapped them all in these crates, and to get them out of the crate, to get them out of the crate, you need to roll into it. But there's a little bit of speed tech you can do with this. If you jump and then roll and press a direction, you will end up going in that direction. Sorry, I said that wrong. You want to jump into the crate and then jump and press a direction after you... Oh, I have walls turned off. Sorry, that's the trainer. You're not supposed to do that. not what's supposed to happen. If you jump into a crate and then press jump again and a direction, you will go in that direction. So that one didn't work so well because I actually hit behind the crate. But you get the idea, like you want to get extra boost in whatever direction you're supposed to be going. So in this case, like the goal was to get more in this direction since this is the exit. And I'll be showing you more about what that means as we see more of these crates. But for now, I'm not going to use the trainer actually. I'm just going to exit level. Oh no. The other thing to know is that after you've saved a puppy, if you go back into that level, the puppy will be replaced by pizza in the box. So if you want to do like full practices of a level, you do have to like fully reload the game. So while I'm reloading the game, let me talk about languages real quick. This category does have a lot of difference for language because all the puppy cutscenes are unskippable and the different languages have different lengths for the puppy cutscene. So I'll give you some tips for what version to use depending on what you have in front of you. If you have an English copy, English is the only language available to you, so you're stuck with English. English is slower by about 45 seconds, so it's definitely something that you can start running on, but it's something that you could like upgrade if you want to keep doing all puppies more. The good news is that most of the runs on the leaderboard were done before we knew this about the languages, so mostly you're going to be running against other people using English, so there's that at least. If you've got a PAL copy from continental Europe, meaning that it has Spanish, French, German, maybe Dutch, depending on your console, and Italian. If you have that one, you want to run on Spanish. That's the fastest one. Don't run on German. That's the slowest one and you'll lose a minute. If you have the Scandinavian copy, which has Danish, Norwegian, and Swedish, you have the fastest copy, and you want to run on either Danish or Norwegian. Danish is fastest by about 1 second, but if you have a special attachment to Norwegian, it's only a second slower. So that's what we know about the different versions, but you know, you can get started with whatever one. All these tricks are possible on all the versions. So let's get going. And so like I said, there's 6 puppies in each level, so I'm going to be showing you where they all are and talking a little bit about the stuff that you can do to get them faster. So right off the bat, in this one, well, you can do a slope boost there, I didn't. You want to head to the left here and get this puppy. And then you head over here and get this puppy. And you can see, like, in that case I didn't bounce off. You want to think about which direction you're going next so that you can think about which direction you want to bounce off. This one, you can do a little bit of a slope boost into the puppy, like that. And then you jump down the waterfall. And there I got an actual boost there, in the direction that I'm going, which is down here. Oh, but not like that, not into the wall. And then for this second to last puppy, you want to kill this car because it opens the gate so you can get to it.
You saved me!
And then finally, the last one is just right here, right at the exit. You can jump over it and try to get like thrown to the other side so that you're a little bit closer to the exit. And that's the first level. You've saved 6 puppies. Oh, not saving. You should get a sticker when you get the 6th puppy. So that's another good way. Like if you weren't paying attention to your number, if you notice the sticker pop up, then you got the 6th puppy. In Toy Store, right away, there's a puppy right here. So actually, you know, like where you start, you can just roll in that direction and you'll get to this puppy. And so this one actually demonstrates, what you can do with ledges. If there's a puppy on a ledge, whoops, why is this doing this? Okay. If there's a puppy on a ledge, you can jump up to it and then like fall off the ledge at the same time. So that's a really small ledge, but you can see like I bounced back again by pressing a direction and jump at the same time I hit the box. Over here, you want to jump over the side here, like this, so that you end up on the ground. Because this is a mini game, and it's where you shoot these bubbles. And unfortunately, this is a little bit RNG based. Sometimes bubbles just won't appear. because the game just hates you that day, and that's okay. You just have to wait for them so that you can get 10. And once you've gotten all 10, a puppy will appear. And then you want to shoot the balloon so that the puppy falls. This one's actually my favorite puppy voice line.
You're a super puppy!
You're a super puppy! All the puppies have unique voice lines, except, I say unique, they're not really totally unique. Some of them get repeated, so I'll talk about that in a second, because right now, there's a puppy up here. And the cool thing about this one, since you're on a ledge and it's a big ledge, if you do this and, oh, I didn't fall off. You can do this and fall off so that you're actually like all the way at the bottom after the cutscene, which is very convenient, very good for time. This next one's a little bit tricky. You want to jump here and then roll over this so that you end up here. But once you're here, you can also do the same thing again here where you fall off at the same time that you get the puppy, and then the puppy's just talking to no one, which is fine, this is normal. And then you take the train, which we didn't even see in the all levels category. And so you want to change the light so that you get into the secret room. Then you want to do this awful minigame, and I say awful because it's really annoying for speedrunners. It's not, you know, maybe an awful minigame. It's just really annoying to do fast because the hitboxes can be really finicky. But luckily that one wasn't too bad. You just got to get all the lights going. And then we save this puppy. And I guess while we take the train, I can talk a little bit more about the different puppy voice lines. I don't remember how many there are, but the most that a puppy voice line appears is 6 times, I think. So like there's one voice line that you'll see 6 different times, same voice line. Oh, I did grab a life there. That's really useful to have that life. There's a few different places you can grab an extra life, but that's the most reliable. So yeah, try to grab that life in Toy Store because we do some extra death warps in this category. Okay. Almost forgot about that. Get extra lives when they're in your path, basically. Put the puppy voice line thing on hold, I guess, because now we're gonna take these trampolines. So you can actually, if you do the jump well, you can get blown up by the bomb car. If you do the jump well, you can make it all the way up to that second trampoline there. You're supposed to go around, but you can make it there. If you're not making that jump, you can make it to this one. That works too. No problem with that. You want to get up here because there's a puppy up here, and then you want to jump and fall off. You can fall all the way down, but that's okay if you don't. You just want to go over here if you don't. And then you get to the end, and you've saved all the puppies in Toy Store. And now we're in Piccadilly. I guess what you'll notice about a lot of puppies is that you have to do like special things to get to them, like solve puzzles or play minigames. And so there's another puzzle that you'll have to do in Piccadilly. The first puppy's pretty straightforward though. You just have to cross the square here and get to the other side to get the puppy. Way to go is one that you'll hear a lot. That's a common puppy voice line. There is one voice line that you only hear a single time. I'll try to point it out when we get to it, because not only do you only hear it a single time, it's really up to anybody's interpretation of what this puppy's even saying. For this one, you can bounce off. Sometimes you can bounce off all the way, sometimes just a little bit. But that also plays into why some languages are faster, because since different voice lines are said different numbers of times, what if a language has a voice line that's like really long and it's said a lot, that means that it's going to take a lot longer to do that this category in that language. For this puzzle, I'm drawing a blank on where I go first because of course I am. Okay, you do this one first, it's triangle, then you go diagonally across and do this one, then you do this one, then you go down here and do this one. If you'll see, this one did like I think it did a smiley face. On PC at least, it does a smiley face when you do it. But if you're on Dreamcast, it'll do a Mickey head. And I don't know why only Dreamcast has the Mickey head.
That's really strange, actually.
Right? Like, if they were allowed to do it on Dreamcast, why weren't they allowed to do it on other platforms?
Yeah.
Or maybe nobody noticed in time?
It was too late to fix that one.
Puppy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bizarre. For this one, you want to make sure that this car is in the right place. That's why I got that other puppy first, because it gets the car to a good place for me to get up here.
Nice job.
And then you get this puppy. And then you can actually do a slope boost off of this to go a little faster. And yes, there is a PC version, a PlayStation 1 version, and a Dreamcast version. I actually played it on PC as a kid, so that's the version that I have nostalgia for. It doesn't suffer from the weird wobbly textures that PlayStation does. If you've noticed, you probably have. But this is the PlayStation version that I'm currently playing. But now we're in Big Ben. Back to everybody's favorite level, Big Ben. And you'll see this time I am actually going the right way across these gears because there's a puppy here. This one asks which way to the bathroom. You'd think more of them would be concerned about that. And then we go in here. And in this one, this is where cycles, again, become important. So Big Ben runs on a cycle, and the cycles start as soon as you load into the level. And that includes the cutscene, which is why you want to skip the cutscene at the beginning as fast as possible. But with these cycles, what you can do, what is possible, is if you're really fast and you get a good boost off this box going in the right direction, you can actually, you can jump off this pendulum, go and get the puppy, and then come back here, and the pendulum will be right here, just like that, except faster than I just did because I stopped and talked for a bit. So with that, you can actually, like, get a whole cycle ahead of if you were to do it a little bit more slowly. And it's easier if you do it on a language that is, if you do it on a language like Danish, it's a lot easier to do because it's a shorter puppy voice line. It actually is really tricky to do it on English. But now we're here, and you'll see that I'm staring at this puppy in the middle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use momentum from this to roll all the way to here. And if that is a problem, it's easier if you, like, jump up to here, I think. I think you can jump across this gap. Maybe not. I'm not actually sure if this is the intended way of getting here. Use the momentum from the piston. It'll fling you up here. And then you can jump off in either direction to jump on a different piston. And now we're gonna go up to the top of Big Ben again. Dreamcast is definitely the prettiest version, but PC doesn't look super bad. Like, I'm not saying that PC is bad in terms of how it looks. But whenever I see the PlayStation version, I'm like, couldn't they have done better? It's a really popular version though, and I think it's what most people played it on. So I just got a puppy there. Here, you can do a little bit of a skip. So you can see there's a puppy crate right there. I'm gonna actually jump across to this one here instead of doing the intended way, which is to, like, go around. And you can see Yvonne actually just, like, spawned in front of me because I did not go the right way. Because she's supposed to, like, guide you through it, but if you go in the wrong order, she'll just, like, appear. Anyways, here's a puppy.
When I get my paws on Cruella, I'm gonna...
What you can do is you can just drop down here, and you can do that out of bounds that I just did, the intermediate one, where you get out of bounds with this punching bag. I will not be showing that method because punching bag clip is really frustrating. Instead, like, missing punching bag clip once means that you'll lose time over doing the level the normal way. So I'm just going to show the normal way here. And then when you feel comfortable to add punching bag clip, you can definitely do that. But there's one more puppy in this room. And I forget, I feel like there was something else I was going to say. Oh, the Dreamcast version. One other weird change in the Dreamcast version is that, oh, puppy here. One other weird change in the Dreamcast version is that the Sound effects. Remember I talked about this helicopter?
Yep.
It really likes to make your life hard. The Dreamcast version seems to have like censored sound effects or something. In Toy Factory, it's got like these really loud crushing machines. And in Dreamcast, they're all changed to splatting noises. Just, I guess because it was too scary for kids? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense.
It was really actually a scary level for me as a kid, so it does kind of make sense. Anyways, we're on Corella 1. This is a cutscene that I can skip at any time. But what I'm going to do first, as soon as I skip the cutscene, I'm going to start heading to the left, and I'm going to go and fling a pineapple at Corella. And so if you were here for the all levels part, this is the same thing. You go and hit the bell, and then you go to the left again to hit her again, and then this is where you can just stun lock her, because now we got that bell cutscene out of the way. Now we can just go back and forth and just defeat her really fast. Oh, except if you miss the bell, that does happen. I didn't even realize I missed the bell there. But if that happens, you just wait for her to come to the next one. It's not a big deal. And now we're on to Royal Museum. And we have to wait for PlayStation load times. Dreamcast does have faster loads. But again, you want to jump over that gate there, grab the coin, and grab the puppy here.
You saved me!
And then we head back to Fluffy, just like you would if you were doing all levels. And then we head over here to the Roman room to grab the scarab. The plot here again is that Corella's henchmen like messed up the museum and put things in all the wrong places. We have to get them back, but we're also going to save the puppies this time. So do a slow boost here. Oh, I hit something so it didn't go off very well, but you can do that. There's a puppy up here. Don't forget this one, because I have before. And then luckily you can just jump over the fence here instead of having to go all the way around. And then we go back to Fluffy. And then we head over here. We don't get a puppy here actually. There is a puppy in this room. We don't get it yet because it's not fast to get it now since we'll be back here. So we grab the bone. We head over here. We do this. You can do the out of bounds with Coast Spot here that I mentioned before, so feel free to add that if you're comfortable with it. I'm going to go over here instead and do this the intended way. If you're doing all puppies this way, actually, probably faster to go over here, to go to the left, because the puppy box is here on the left. Normally you'd go on the right because that is a little bit shorter, but you have to get this puppy anyways. And then you gotta lower this bridge. Grab the crown, and before you leave, before you do your giant slow boost off the pyramid, go inside and grab this puppy. Otherwise you'll have to come all the way back up here for this puppy. But now you can do the giant slow boost off the pyramid. Just like that. Jump and roll on the pyramid and you'll go really fast into the exit. And finally, we have one more puppy and the donut for Fluffy. Right here.
Thanks for rescuing me.
Also, yes, this game does have a bunch of mini-games, including a mini-golf course. You can speedrun the ice race and the tilt maze and the mini-golf. Ice race and Tilt Maze actually have glitches that you can use. Ice Race even has an out-of-bounds glitch. Mini-golf doesn't. But it's a lot of fun to speedrun some of the mini-games. Here's the last puppy. Don't forget this one. We save it till the end since we're already coming over here. And then you can leave. And now we are going on to Underground. So again, you can start off with a slope boost here. If you jump up here and then get a slope boost off this, you can roll into the train. And then after you've rolled into the train, I'm just gonna have to load a save state just to show this, because unfortunately this is gonna get rid of all my puppy counts, but that's okay. You guys know I saved all the puppies. We're in underground. So go here, jump and roll on the slope, roll into the train, and then hold up and right, and jump when you get here so that you go over it. Now, because we're saving the puppies, that means we can't do the out of bounds trick on this crate, because we have to save the puppy. Which is so unfortunate that our out of bounds tricks rely on not saving puppies.
It is a little tragic.
Just a little tragic. They're fine. They can roll themselves. Underground is probably the level you're most likely to die on. I've died on it many times. I already have almost no health, so I probably will die on it right now, which is not cool. That's why I did that kind of slow. I probably shouldn't do that so slow, though. I should show you guys how to do it faster. Pretend like I saved that puppy. I'm gonna go back over there and show you guys how to do this faster. You can see this, it lags hard at this part because all the water is a problem. What you want to do is the easiest way to kill these enemies is to either roll on top of them or to bark at them when you're next to them. So if you try to aim a roll on top of them and you don't make it on top of them, that's okay. That's when you would bark at them. In this case, you want to do this so that you can get this key, because there is a puppy up here. Unfortunately, we don't have an out of bounds for that. Oh, and I fell out. That's okay. Very likely to happen when you're trying to go fast on this little catwalk. I guess I shouldn't call it a catwalk if this is dog game. Dog walk doesn't work there, though.
Not quite, but...
but that puppy, that was another puppy that says you're a super puppy, so you can see they definitely reused the voice lines. This one I bark here and then roll over here to get this one. The cool thing about this area is that, so you do have to kill all these enemies, but it'll respawn, like it'll put you in a certain place for the cutscene no matter where you are, so like I can go all the way over here and it'll just put me back here. It doesn't matter where you end. And then you very specifically do want to kill this bear because there's a puppy here.
I knew you'd rescue me.
If you're low on health, or if you need an extra life because you lost one somewhere, you can grab this hot dog and you can grab this life here. Very good safety life, especially because I had an extra life and then lost it when I reloaded my save. And then you go get flushed down the sewer. Oh, there's also a hot dog here. You do want to make sure you have health for this part because there's still enemies that we need to kill. So first you want to get the puppy that's in this little, like, sewer, behind the sewer grate. You gotta bark at the grate to get it open. But this is where, even if you've made it all this way without dying, you still could die here. You have to kill 3 of these bear enemies in order to lower the last pedestal that has the puppy on it. And so actually you can see it's kind of like a glitch. It looked like there was pizza in that box at first because for some reason they rendered that cutscene with a box without a puppy in it. And after you've rescued a puppy, it has pizza in the box. So it just looks like there's pizza coming down to you. But there's not. That's a puppy. And now we're at Carnival, which means you actually get to see this level because in all levels, you don't. But in all puppies, we're going to see the different things that you can do in the carnival. And so a big gimmick of this level is you need tickets to activate things. So the first thing that you want to do is kill both these devil toys so that this ticket appears. And if you know exactly where it is, you can actually put yourself right on top of it so that it spawns on you. Once you're in this room, if you're on console, if you're on Dreamcast or PlayStation, you can roll up here and make this jump. It's a little tight and sometimes it doesn't work right away, but you can, I promise, you can do this. As I, miss it a million times. There we go. And this is faster than going around because you're not supposed to be able to do this. Also, I'm just discovering if you aim it more this way, it works better. So, aim more at the wall, and you can make this jump. If you're on PC, this won't work, unfortunately, and you have to go around. So you have to do this like little obstacle course funhouse thing if you're on PC. There's these like air vents that you can use, and then you save the puppy. Oop, save the puppy. Puppy.
I owe you one.
And then you can do a slope to stop this, because slopes. From here, you want to head straight across to this tent that's like across and slightly to the right. And you need to get another ticket, so you have to kill this devil toy. And I stood right where the ticket spawned in that case, so that's why you didn't see it, but I did collect it. And in this one, for any trampoline, you want to hold the jump button so that you go as high as possible, because if you don't, you won't get high enough to get to that puppy. You saw that with like a low jump. So if you're not making it, just hold the jump button, and you should at that point. This level, this specific area is really awful in 100% because you have to get all those bones that are bouncing around the room. But luckily, we're not doing that today. Next, you want to, again, go across and slightly to the left. You don't want this ticket. I mean, you can collect it, but if you do collect it, you want to be careful not to get too close to this because it'll automatically unlock. Instead, this is a really cool use of depth. It looks like you can't get anywhere back here, but you can. There's a little secret area.
Oh man, am I hungry or what?
And then we're going to go and check out the magic wagon. If you ever played this game casually and couldn't figure out where the last puppy was, it was probably in the wagon. Because you have to go in and exit this place several times in order to get the last puppy. It's got multiple rooms in it. So the first one is this one.
Oh, thank you so much.
This one's, you know, pretty easy. You walk into the wagon, grab it, leave. Then you have to exit, or enter and exit the wagon again. It's going to be a different room, but not a room with a puppy in it. And then you go back in, and this time it is a room with a puppy in it, and it has a little puzzle. It's kind of like this weird... It starts like a question mark and then kind of like zigzags up to here. And so this is the puppy line. This puppy line only appears once. Good luck figuring out what it says.
Excelsior! I'm free!
Our best guess for that one is that the puppy says, "Excelsior, I'm free." But why is the puppy saying Excelsior?
So that's what I heard, but I couldn't tell you. Yeah, what?
I don't know. I have no idea. But it says that. And the translations, we've asked people what the translations are in their language, and it doesn't say like anything close to that, so we still don't have, the translations did not help us. But that one only appears once. Maybe it was like some developer's Easter egg or something.
That's maybe.
But now we're back in Lumber Mill. I will talk again about this tight jump that you can do here. It is possible to make it from here onto that log. And it will save you some time. It's also really tight, and especially when there's lag, it can be really tricky to get that. So if that jump's not working for you, go around here, because missing it even once will lose you time over doing the intended route. But now we've got to kill some more enemies to get puppies, so we gotta get both these bulldozers, and to kill a bulldozer you have to flip it over and then bark at it. You can't just bark at it, so keep that in mind. And then we get this puppy. In this level you can really see some of the weird texture things going on, because like you'll see enemies through walls and stuff even though they can't get to you. Anyways, for this next puppy, what you're supposed to do is like jump to here and then jump over there. But it is possible to make it from here. And so this is, again, going back to those tight jumps, it can be really useful to learn how to do them early because it will save you time in unexpected places. So this one is easier than the log jump that I just showed you. This one I would recommend trying right away. And then for here, you can actually just fall off the other side. And there is one more puppy in here. And if you are low on health, I am not low on health. If you are low on health, be careful of these bulldozers because they will come for you after this puppy is done. Like that. So I have lost a run because I had no health left and that bulldozer just came for me during the puppy cutscene. There's another puppy over here.
You are a super puppy!
And then we're gonna go back up this little pyramid. You can grab another life here for safety. And remember, we have some extra death warps here, so it's just nice to have extra lives. Both for that and just like extra lives beyond that, so that if you miss any, you can still do the death warps. But now we're going to operate heavy machinery again. And this time we're not going to bring the log all the way over to the left. Whoops, I actually exited too early. We're going to put it right here so that we can get this puppy. And if you're comfortable with bulldozer clips, there is an out of bounds you can do with bulldozer to get the puppy without having to move this. So that's something you can add when you're comfortable with it. And then you move it over here, and then you're done. This game came out in 2000, along with the Disney movie that came out at the same time, called 102 Dalmatians. And it's for PS1, PC, and PS1, PC, and Dreamcast. But now we're fighting Cruella again. And so this time we're hitting her with watermelons. And let me just reload this actually. With Cruella 2, what you want is to immediately try to hit her with a watermelon. And then you want to wait for her to stop and try to hit her with 2 more watermelons. And she's going under the bridge, so that kind of sucks. There we go. So she stopped here, we want to try to hit her with 2. Sometimes this doesn't reach. Yeah, that one didn't reach. That happens sometimes. And then at this point, now you're kind of like out of your usual cycle and you just kind of have to work with what comes to you, which happens a lot with this one. So in this case, you can try to hit her when she's moving on this cycle, but it's a little bit harder than like the consistent strat we have for the last cycle, the last melon. The reason I paused it though, I'm currently playing as Domino. At this point, you actually want to be Oddball because Oddball will save you time. I am Domino because I've been using save states and they're all Domino. To switch to...
I think we've almost got it.
Domino says that voice line slower. So you want to switch and be Oddball at this point. Usually people switch in Big Ben when they're just waiting around on machines. But let me do this whole thing again and actually switch sooner so you can see what it looks like with Oddball. So if you're Oddball, that cutscene will be faster. So you want to hit her at first. Wait for her to stop and try to hit her with 2. This should work this time. Oh, she started moving again. Wow. How rude, Cruella. This is what I mean. Sometimes you just have to roll with the punches with Cruella too.
I think we've almost got it.
Unskippable cutscene, Oddball is faster. I'm just gonna wait for her to stop here because she is not cooperating today. And on that last one, if you move diagonally in the direction that she's headed and hit a watermelon, usually that'll work. So like if she's moving to the right, you press up right. If she's moving to the left, you press up left. And hit a watermelon into her while she's moving, it'll usually hit her. I just couldn't there because she went under the bridge. And now we're in Countryside. So in this case, unlike all levels, you actually want to roll straight forward in Countryside and hit this cutscene. Because you need these planes in order to get the puppy. And I'm going to do this again because I killed an unnecessary toy and I don't want to make people feel like they have to do that. So you get this, hit this first plane, another cutscene's gonna pop up, and then you're gonna get a second plane. You gotta hit that one too. If you kill this devil toy, it's good because you can get an extra hot dog, which is health, but you don't have to. But once you get that second plane, then a puppy appears here, and this is really slidey, unfortunately. Yeah, slidey. You don't have to kill this last one, but if it's bothering you, you can. And so you go up here, and there we are. And then you go over to the right. There is a puppy here. And that's the only thing that's over here. It looks like this area should be bigger, but you can just leave after this. And then we head up here, and we go into this cave this time. There's a puppy in here. We go up, and then down again. And it can be really easy to fall off these, so the camera switch can be weird too. Trying to jump and roll at the same time on them is definitely not recommended. And then there's a puppy here. And there's another one. You can do a nice slow boost here. There's one on top of this tree. So we just missed the platform actually, but it'll come back down and then we can get that puppy up there. You can actually see it through the wall a little bit.
Nice job.
PlayStation does some weird things with like seeing other things through walls. And the last puppy is right across Stonehenge. In this category, we won't be destroying Stonehenge, but you can. If you play 100%, you can destroy, like, an important national monument.
If it was so important, it wouldn't be able to be destroyed.
Obviously. They weren't protecting it well enough. Wasn't good enough security. They should have,
They should have hired Grella.
That's what they were missing. Now we're in Barnyard, and so again, this is a task-based level. We have to do 5 tasks before we can leave, and we'll collect the puppies along the way. So first, we're going to get Priscilla her water and collect a puppy. Actually, we'll collect the puppy first. If you go up here, there is a puppy. And there are 6 puppies in each level, 6 puppies in 16 levels, 96 puppies. There's 2 player character puppies, so that brings us to 98 puppies. And then there's the 2 parents, which brings us to 100 Dalmatians. And then this is where it gets kind of like questionable, I say. So we're at 100 Dalmatians. There's 2 Dalmatians on the level select screen, like looking at the TV, but they never appear in the game and they never appear in cutscenes. So do those Dalmatians count as the last 2 Dalmatians? I say no, because they just like threw them in there afterwards, maybe because they didn't have 102, but they probably did that on purpose so that there'd be 102.
I wonder if it's more so that they were supposed to be somewhere in the game and they ran out of time.
Yeah, right? The reason that I'm running back here, so you have 2 options here for what you can do with this death warp. I'm gonna go and get the hens and I'm gonna do a death warp. In all puppies, it actually kind of makes less sense for you to take all the damage right away because it just makes it easier for you to die. So I actually, are you kidding me? It's just like stuck in the wall.
These enemies are just
cool.
Getting stuck in things today.
That's cool. They're not very smart. I'll use the hens save, and I'll go back and explain again. If you're doing an all puppies run, you might actually not want to take damage here. You'll see a lot of runners corner this bulldozer and take damage. I'm not going to take any more because I'm about to die, because this save state has only 1 health left. But you can take 3 damage there, and then when you go and do the hens, you only have 1 left, which means you only need to take 1 more damage there to Death Ward. The reason that I don't necessarily recommend that for an all puppies run is because if you accidentally die early in all puppies, you might not get that puppy that's over there, and then you really lost a lot of time. Because this bulldozer is going to be chasing you while you're trying to get the hens in, and while you're trying to get the last puppy box, which is behind the bulldozer. So if you're dying there a lot, it might make sense to like delay getting down to 1 health, because you're going to see this bulldozer is going to be coming for me right now, like immediately, and I only have 1 health left, so I have to make sure to get this puppy before taking this last health. And now we spawn back at Priscilla. And I was saying that Fluffy works for Cruella. I think Priscilla does too. The next one that we're gonna do is we're gonna go and drain the silo. Before we get there, there's a puppy here. Get this puppy.
Yeah, I'll see you later.
And then there is a puppy in the silo. And this puppy's notorious for me. This puppy I call Silo Dog because I always forget Silo Dog. Always. And the reason is that it's really easy to just like let muscle memory take over for all levels. I am taking some damage here, by the way, for another Death Ward. And then this is an out of bounds here. You can jump through this haystack. Really easy. And then you ride the silo up. And then we're gonna drain the silo and make sure not to leave the silo before getting Silo Dog, because Silo Dog is very important. Also, Silo Dog just like survived on the bottom of this silo for who knows how long, so this dog is a super puppy. This would not be safe in real life.
I feel like he's the only puppy so far that has the excuse to not get themselves out.
Yeah, that one really needed saving. The other ones, though,
they were all really just napping the entire time.
Yeah, they were just kind of chilling there, like, I'll get out later. We do come in the barn one more time here, though. We grab this key because we need it to operate the tractor. Because once again, puppies driving heavy machinery. And before you go through that door there is one more puppy here. So make sure not to forget this one too. And now we're going to do another out of bounds. This one we already talked about in all levels. It's pretty straightforward. You want to jump into this wall, and when the puppy gets stuck on it, you just press to go left and you'll go through it. And that's it. It can be hard to get the puppy stuck sometimes, but once you do, it's not too bad. Then there's this tractor cutscene that you skip. Actually, I recommend watching the tractor cutscene the first time you play it. It's really funny.
I knew you'd
Like,
rescue me.
you drive the tractor past the farmer's house, and he's talking to his wife. He says, "Look, there's a dog outside driving my tractor," and her response is, "You better not be drinking this earlier. I'm going to go back to my mother's house." Which seems really out of character for a kid's game, a Disney game.
That's really that's out of place.
I don't know how they were allowed to put that one in. And now we're in Ice Festival. And this is another one where there's some enemies we have to kill to get the puppies. We gotta get the snowmen here. I don't know, do the snowmen appear in any other level? They wouldn't be in, like, they'd be out of place in any other level. I don't think they do. Most enemies appear... Every enemy isn't in every level, but most enemies appear in multiple levels. So it's kind of weird that the snowmen are just here. Even the penguins aren't just here. The penguins are in Toy Factory and maybe some other places, but Toy Factory is the one that comes to mind right now.
So clearly penguins are
puppy.
just more evil than snow.
The greatest.
Yes. Penguins represent a much greater evil. And now there's some fun minigames you can do with like using a cannon to shoot the ice soldiers and stuff, but we don't have to do any of that to get the puppies. In 100% you would, but not here. Oh, that was a weirdly long cutscene. Skip. Now we go up here again though, and we try not to get hurt by these penguins that just keep coming. Okay, well, now we're getting low on health. Once again, you do not have to get any of these slalom flags. To get a speed boost though, what you can do is roll over here, and so you get the puppy stuck falling, and then you gain a lot of speed going down here. So you can see I'm going really fast here. And I'll actually even like go past the exit if I'm going fast enough. But you don't have to get any flags, you just have to get to the end and then you're allowed to continue. And then for some reason, this is the only puppy that's like this. There's a puppy inside this igloo. And I don't know how you're supposed to know that it's there, because there's no like hint or anything. Probably if you get too close to it, you get like the puppy crate sounds. I've never actually tried that. I just don't know like how you're supposed to expect a puppy to be there.
Yeah, that's strange. I don't think it's as bad as the wagon though.
True, the wagon you have to go in multiple times. I will say the NPC actually gives you a hint there. If you talk to a certain NPC, it will tell you that that's there. I don't think there's a similar clue for that igloo. They were devious about some of these. But you see here, before I went to the end, I did head right to get that puppy, and then you head straight towards the exit to get the last puppy. And this one's right in the middle, can't miss it.
You're a super puppy!
And now we're on to Ancient Castle. And this really doesn't make sense if you think about it logically. Like, we were just in the Ice Festival. Before that, we were at the Barnyard where it was like, I don't know, summer or fall. This kind of looks like spring, and that was winter. So, have we just spent all that time? Are the puppies in their crates this whole time? But now here, first thing you have to do is get this bear, because it opens this gate here.
Way to go!
And then I'm going to show you a route that uses one of the easier out of bounds, and then there's another route you can do that uses one of the harder out of bounds if you feel comfortable with the harder corner clip. So first I'm just going to roll straight across here. And I'm going to roll straight ahead. There's actually a secret room back here. And there's a puppy in it. So we grab the puppy in the room.
You saved me!
Then we are going to head over to the right into the bedroom and flip this switch. And what this does is it turns the fireplace off, which is important for getting another puppy. Because of course, there's a puppy in the fireplace. But there's a puppy in the bedroom before we leave the bedroom. So let's go and grab the puppy in the fireplace. These puppies are fireproof, as you'll learn. There we go.
Super puppy!
Oh, it's a super puppy dog. I didn't know that one had that voice line. And then we're gonna climb up the table and up to this puppy here. And now this is where we're gonna do a small out of bounds. If you remember from the corner clips, you want to get the puppy parallel to the wall that you're trying to clip into. So in this case, it's the wall on the right. And then you start jumping, and what you want is for the puppy to slowly move into that wall, and if you're not moving into the wall, you want to tap the right camera button until that happens, like that. And then the good news is that the wind doesn't spawn up here. Usually there'd be wind pushing you back, but we don't have that because we clipped into it from out of bounds. And so there's a puppy, and then we just leave. And I've seen a few people ask like how I got into this, or like mentioning playing it as a kid. I also played this game as a kid. That's how I got into speedrunning this game, is because I loved it as a kid. And my partner at one point was like, he was like, oh, come on, 102 Dalmatians is your favorite game from when you were a kid. And I was like, yes, I'm going to speedrun it. I'm going to prove to you that it's a fantastic game. And it turns out it is a fantastic game to speedrun. So this is Cruella 3. Now we've got pumpkins for her. So to get a fast cycle on this, you want to follow the movements that I'm going to do, which include you want to shoot that first wall block out, and then come over here and shoot the second one. And then you wait in the middle here for her to shoot at you. I'm just going to pause so I can explain it a little bit more slowly. You wait for her to shoot this water balloon at you. And before it hits you, you want to start moving to the right again. And then you load it here and move it over again so that you hit here. And ideally, if you got like a really good manipulation here, she wouldn't shoot another water balloon at you. She did shoot one at me here, which means that I only got the manipulation part way. If you get it all the way, what you are trying to do is you're trying to stay on the ground as little as possible. Like if you keep moving, then she can't lock onto you to shoot a water balloon at you, basically, is what's going on there. But in this case, she shot one at us, that's okay. If you get the manipulation to the point that I got it to, it still will save you time, it just won't save you as much time. And then you shoot out the rest of these. And what's going to happen is she's going to walk over there, but then she's going to turn around and come back like that. And that's perfect. That's what the manipulation does. It gets her all the way on the left here. And now when she's turned to the side, you can actually hit her through the wall. So you can just hold down the shoot button and it'll keep hitting her. You're not supposed to be able to do this, but for some reason, they messed up somewhere. And you can just shoot her through the wall because her hitbox comes through it. And now we're in Spooky Forest. And I said in the all levels one, this one is more of a maze than the Hedge Maze level is sometimes. Because at least in Hedge Maze you have a map, in Forest you do not. But first you get this puppy over here. This one's easy. This is an easy puppy to get. You just go to the right. Now you go into the magical teleportation tree. I don't know what it's actually called. That's the name I just made up for it. And you want to head immediately down to this one to get this. There's a puppy on top of this hill here. And then you head back into the magical tree. And this time you go across to the one, or actually, sorry, you save this puppy first. Don't forget this puppy. And then you leave through the one that has Wattlesworth by it. Wattlesworth's actually our checkpoint. We've been seeing him but not using him at all because speedrun. But Wattlesworth is a checkpoint. Once you exit the tree here, you actually want to go immediately behind the tree because there's another one. And there's also this spider web made by a giant spider. That's probably concerning, but at least we never see the spider. And then you go up here. One more puppy.
You saved me!
And the last one is right here. Right by the exit, actually. So if we're gonna just keep going through this room to the exit. There we go. And now we're in Hedge Maze. This one at least tells you that it's a maze. In this one, we're also going to use Death Warps, and I don't know if I have enough health right now just because of like the fact that I've been reloading saves. So I am going to reload this with more health. Because we're going to do... This is the last Death Warp in the route. So you really only need one more health than what you start with, one more life than what you start with. So we came over here, we got this puppy that's like in the crypt or something. I don't know what that's supposed to be. And then, instead of turning this, we actually continue straight through it. You can press that switch to turn it. There's a puppy here, so we're gonna get this puppy.
You're a super puppy!
And then we're gonna go back to the switch, and now we're gonna turn the switch. And this time, to go forward, we would head to the right. We're gonna head to the left, because there's a puppy back here too. And you wanna jump on this sundial thing. Edge Maze seems like it's supposed to be like, it's like her backyard. It's Corella's backyard. But, I don't know. There's like giant balls of death. Wait, actually, this goes back to like Corella is better as a security company than as a toy company.
Yeah, no, the more I see, the more I'm convinced she went into the wrong industry.
She could have avoided all of these problems by just picking the right line of work. But this part here is really important for the Death Warp. You want to get this checkpoint with Wattlesworth, and you get the checkpoint just by walking up to Wattlesworth. And then you need to not touch another Wattlesworth, not get close enough to another Wattlesworth to cause another checkpoint. Because what we've just done is we've set our respawn location to Wattlesworth, and then we activate this switch, and now we're going to go back and use that switch. But instead of like walking all the way back here, we're just going to die and respawn at Wattlesworth. Yeah, this game gets compared to Spyro a lot, definitely. Because you're collecting a lot of puppies instead of collecting a lot of dragons. It is a PS1 platformer. So that Wattlesworth that I just passed, you have to be careful not to get too close to him, because if you set him off, then the Death Warp will not be nearly as effective. But the puppy is up here. We're almost there. And now, actually, I think I haven't taken enough damage. I didn't really take that much on some of the things, so we're gonna take 2 here. And now we're gonna respawn at that Wattlesworth that's like way far away from us in the maze. And luckily, because we would be soft-blocked otherwise, luckily it moves the switch so that we can get out. And now we can continue. So we're just gonna keep going through the level. And so there's 2 more puppies. One's here.
I knew you'd rescue me.
It's okay to take damage on these giant balls of death as long as you don't take too much on them. So like, oh, I didn't even take damage there. Sweet. There's not a lot of like unexpected enemies here. And then for this, again, this has some RNG to how the puzzle is arranged. So it can be 1 to 3 turns per piece. Ideally, you'd want 1 turn every time. I've never gotten that. I think the lowest I've gotten is like 11 or 12. 9 is the lowest. 27 is the highest. So if you get in the 20s, that's unfortunate. The RNG did not like you today. Oh, I didn't get the puppy. There's a puppy here. Don't forget it. Like I did.
Corella, bite for me.
There we go. And we are almost done. There's only a few more levels. So we're in DeVille Manor. This one's kind of like, it can feel like you're doing it wrong because all the puppies are at the end. If you're like at the end of the level and you have most of your puppies left to get, that's fine because that's how this level works. So first, we're gonna climb up here. And you want to go along here to talk to Sergeant Tibbs, is this cat's name. You don't actually need to talk to Sergeant Tibbs for anything, it's just that when you get too close to him, you get the cutscene. Our real goal is this puppy, and you can actually fall off the edge there by jumping when you hit the box. And then you head up here again. I seem to be having problems with that wall today. And then the other one, this is another one that's kind of tricky, except that there's like lots of other paintings that you knock down, so this one, I can kind of understand why they put one behind the painting here. There's a puppy behind the painting.
Feels good to be out of there.
There's another one in Corella's bedroom. At least I assume that's what this is.
You're my hero.
There's another one in the bathroom. At least I assume it's the bathroom. And you enter the bathroom by removing this painting from the wall.
Which way to the bathroom?
And then there are 2 more puppies here. In the last room, there's 2 puppies. And that's why I can kind of get nerve-wracking. It's like, did I miss a puppy? No, there's just 2. There's just 2 in the last room for some reason. Oh no, I fell off! Well, that's kind of the danger of when you try to use the bounce mechanic to get places faster, is sometimes you get places you did not intend to be, like falling off things that you didn't want to. But that's okay.
Not too much of a
Here's
time
the end.
loss.
What was that?
Luckily, it's not too much of a time loss.
Oh yeah, not a super big deal. You just climb back up. And now we're in Toy Factory. These are the last puppies. The last puppies that need saving. This is another of those tight jumps. I've talked about it. I've talked about tight jumps a lot so far, so in this case you want to practice getting around this wall and over here. And then up here, except I missed it. If you miss these jumps, it's actually really not a big deal. You just, you know, take the machinery up. If you fall off over here, it's a much bigger deal because you have to go all the way back to the beginning and do that whole first part again. But there's a puppy here.
Which way to the bathroom?
Puppy 1. And then you can, oh yeah, you can get a boost on those. If it's about to, like, we call them crushers. If they're about to crush when you get in, you can still, like, walk into them and get the boost. If they're not, like, if they're in, like, the waiting period like this, you just, like, jump against the side like this. And then you'll go extra fast. And you also won't take damage off of them. There is a puppy hidden in these boxes here. That one can be easy to forget sometimes, so make sure to remember to grab that one. And then there's actually not a puppy in this whole next part, even though it feels like there should be. So we're gonna ride the box up and there's not a puppy before then. You can sometimes chase the box when it's like this and you can make it there, but that was too tight. The other danger of chasing the box is, like, sometimes you accidentally clip into the box and take damage, which is bad. But there is a puppy here. And so once again, the warning is, do not, like, walk through the middle here, because there's a chance of, like, clipping into the floor and soft blocking. So try to go along the side. For this one, you can use the momentum of this. You can see, like, I go extra high if I jump off of it when it's going upwards. And you can use that momentum to get all the way over to that other side where that puppy box is. So you just gotta make sure to jump off at the right point, which can take some practice, but once you get it down, it's not too bad. So now.
I'm going home.
The other way that you can do it is to, like, stand on the moving part and ride it across. I think that's the intended way to do it, but even that's pretty tricky. And then we've got the last, or not the last puppy, but the next puppy is down here, underneath the magnets. You still don't have to do anything with the magnet puzzle, because you only have to do that in 100% to get the bones. You just have to go underneath there and then ride the platform back up. And then finally, the last two puppies are in here. This is another one where you gotta use the momentum of this to get onto these platforms. And then grab this puppy.
Sure feels good to be out of there.
And then we want to go over here and ride this air elevator. And so once again, just like I said in all levels, you've got a few different options for how you do this. I'm going to show you a way to do it with a really tight jump. If that's not working for you, there's some other switches you can hit. You can hit this switch here, and then you can hit this switch here, and then all the platforms will move into place so that you can do it like how it was intended. But that's a bit of a tight jump. This one's not so tight, actually. And there's actually an out of bounds you can do on this. You can actually get behind the box and go out of bounds at the same time that you open the box, but that one's really risky, so that I will not be doing today. And that's the last puppy. We have saved 96 puppies. Not 102, 96 puppies. And now we just have to finish the game. So again, this is a tight jump. The jump buffer method works great. If you hold the jump button down and then walk off an edge, you will jump at just the right time, and then at that point all you have to do is make sure you roll at the right point. So I'm going to show you that again with me properly lining up the jump. But this is the trickiest jump in the game, so do not be worried if you're frustrated by it. It's a very common thing to be frustrated by. But what you can do is you can like ride one around, wait for it to get to the right spot, and then aim right there and go off. There we go, now we're on the last level. And so this is Cruella 4. We're going to defeat her again, this time with lasers. And so I'm going to be showing you a 4-cycle method of doing it. You don't have to do it in 4 cycles, but it just, like, you know exactly where the last thing that you need to shoot spawns. If you do it in 4 cycles, you know exactly where that'll be. If you don't, then you'll have to kind of like guess where it shows up. So the first one, by cycle I mean like laser cycles. So the first one, you activate this laser, activate the shield, and then just shoot in the bottom left, and you'll hit all these boxes. They'll just like accelerate into your laser, which is really convenient for speedrunning. The next one is these robot heads, and these ones are random. You want to get 3 to 4 of them in with each laser. There's 6 total, so you want to get, ideally you get 4 on the first laser, but that doesn't happen. That's fine. You can still definitely make up for it with the next one. See, I only got 3 there. So we can get 3 with the next laser, and then that's fine. And then on this last one, we're gonna have to hit 3 orbs. I'm gonna wait for the first 2 to appear because that means that I'll have enough energy to hit the last one. And then because we got it in 4 cycles, I know exactly where the last orb's gonna appear, and it's down here. And so I just wait a second and then I start shooting, and that's time. And so now you've saved all the puppies and you've defeated Cruella, and you're ready to go. You're ready for an all puppies run. I see a question for my favorite level. I think Ancient Castle is my favorite level. I just like the environment and the music. And I think the game has pretty good movement for a platformer of this era. It's a licensed game, but it's pretty well made. And there we are.
Get me out of this gloop!
Again, you've been doing a very good job, so maybe you're just explaining it so well it seems easy, but I feel like both of these have been more or less pretty easy to pick up.
That's a pretty sight.
Yeah, that's what I loved about it when I first started learning. It wasn't the first speedrun I tried to learn, but it was the first one I like finished learning, because it's satisfying, and you can like start with some easy stuff and move towards the harder stuff, but you'll be getting things right away.
Yeah, that's the other nice thing. Like, there are beginner strats, and then there is actually more difficult strats, like more advanced strats, which is pretty cool in the speed.
Don't worry, Dottie.
Yeah, definitely.
Puppies are safe, and the police will make sure that evil woman won't bother us.
Thank you so much for having me, though. I'm always excited to show off this game, and I hope some more people see it and some more people can pick it up with these guides.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for being on. It's awesome to have runners who are, very passionate about their games come on and teach their games, especially when they're able to teach it as well as you did. So again, thank you so much.
Yeah. Oh, and you can catch this one at GDQ. Me and Tainted Talia are going to be racing all levels at SGDQ.
And I actually haven't looked at the schedule yet, so...
It is in the very early morning on Thursday, like 6:30 event time, 6:30 a.m. event time on Thursday.
Awesome, so 6:30 a.m. Thursday on the event. Check this run out.
Definitely.
Is there anything else you want to say before we end, or...?
I mean, thank you to everybody in the community. This has definitely been a group effort to find all these tricks, to make all these resources. Check out speedrun.com for access to the trainer, to more guides, to like alternate strats and advanced tricks. And yeah, just thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being on. It's been a pleasure, and you did a great job, so... with all that said, though, we do have another show coming up right after. So a few quick reminders before we go to a break for the next show. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to press the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel. Also, go to twitch.com/GameZoneQuick if you're interested in looking at any of our live content, starting weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern and weekends at 1 p.m. Eastern. And right after the break, we've got speedruns from the Crypt, which will be comparing the original Resident Evil 4 with the remake. See you in just a few minutes for that.